Think I'm good. Hit that like button and subscribe. Of course. If you haven't, hey, if you ain't doing your research, it's on you. No child left behind. No child left behind, but your research is your research, you know. I'm only here to point you in the right direction so you would know there's so much more and so much further to go. So much further to go. Yesterday, shout out to the people who came over and supported the stream last night. I appreciate y'all. Y'all know I'm transitioning. I got the Kevin G show. I got Kevro Sports and all of that. So just putting this stuff in order. And the people following my channel and supporting that is real. It's dope to me, and I appreciate that. Shout out to my Patreon. Shout out to the people in my Cash App. Mr. Jason Harris and my man Rico with some crazy information. We're going back to the lunatic asylums. We going back to the asylums. Hit that like button and subscribe. Yeah, boy, we're going back to the asylums. We're going back to the Addams family type shit. Hit that like button. Yeah. Yeah, and remember to go over to my patreon.com/KevGillsTV, where we will be watching videos and movies according to this situation today. Hit that like button. If you're not there, that's on you. I post it. It'll be in my Patreon. If you're there, you there. If you're not, you know, shout out to you as well. No hate, no nothing. You know, I just see it as if you want to learn new things, you would seek after that. Nobody ever had to push me to do more when I was interested in it. You know what I'm saying? Some people are not interested in this as much as they are, rappers, the rapper who passed away, different things like that. You know, maybe your mind is on other things. This is where my mind is. So the realm I exist in and where I'm at and going, all is based off of where you at mentally. Press 1. Press 1. Y'all know this. Y'all know that to be true in your personal life. That's why a lot of people ain't really progressed nowhere, because they stuck mentally. It ain't even got nothing to do with anything external. It's all mental discipline, and where you see yourself, where you been, owning your shit, standing on your shit. That's all it is. So it's up to you. If you want to learn, that's on you. This is not force feeding over here. Hit that like button. This isn't that. There's too much information in the world for a black man to be stuck mentally stuck, as if to say, what are we gonna do? First, what we gonna do is get on a mental wave. You can't do nothing if you're not mentally capable of standing on your own. That's facts. If you believe your ass is on a flying turtle, if you believe you've come from a different time zone or whatever you think, then go with that. I have no beef against y'all. In fact, we're talking about insane asylums today, but more in a more constructive way. See, me, I know that there was a black Holocaust. I just been investigating this whole thing, and we've crossed this before dealing with the asylums. What's up, Miss Lori? What's up, Gucci? I see you. We passed this before, where we start looking at the insane asylums from old. And now that we're on extermination and possible Holocaust and war, even forgotten wars right here, huh? Even forgotten wars that people don't forgot about that took place right here. Y'all don't know the half. Like R. Kelly said, y'all don't know the half. But that's cool. So, without further ado, because I really don't got time to waste. I got to go to class and show these videos pertaining to this. But I do want to point those who don't come to class in the right direction. I do want to do that. So y'all know where we at mentally. Okay. Now, we were talking about last night. Shout out to my Cash App. City issues formal apology for experiments conducted at Holmesburg Prison decades ago. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. City issues formal apologies for experiments conducted at Holmesburg Prison decades ago. If you was in class yesterday, you would know that. If you're paying attention. But the city of Philadelphia, I got the report right here. Let's go to the report. Press 1. Philadelphia. Today, the city, this is October 6th. This is this year. Today, the city of Philadelphia takes the opportunity to apologize for the experiments conducted by the University of Pennsylvania at Philadelphia's Holmesburg Prison from the 1950s to the 70s. Inmates were intentionally exposed to pharmaceutical, viruses, funguses, asbestos, and even dioxin. Oh, carbon dioxide. Oh, that's and a component of Agent Orange. Press 1. And if you know you are the Orange Man, Agent Orange and all that, listen, the vast majority of those subjected to the wide range of experimentation were black men. In fact, not just black, Native American, Afro-Americans that were native pre-Ellis Island and all that. Press 1. The vast majority of those were black men, many of them illiterate, awaiting prosecution and attempting to save enough money to make bail. Illiterate. You remember, it was illegal for you to be illiterate. Awaiting prosecution. That means jail. Now, prosecution, remember this, and attempting to save enough money to make who and pay who? Bail. Whatever the ethical norms for prison experimentation were at the time, it was wrong to exploit the vulnerable population. This is yet another tragic example of disgraceful and unethical practices of medical experimentation on people of color throughout our country's history. And this is not just Kevin saying this. Press 1. This is not just Kevin saying this. This is coming out. Why? Because Kevin said. That's why. This is not just kept, but it's coming out. Why? Because the truth will set you free. That's why. Hit the like button. We don't got to wait until 300, 400, 500 people up in here to support the channel. Y'all know I'm just here for my supporters and to bring y'all to Kevro University to let you know this is what we're talking about. While this happened many decades ago, we know the historical impact and trauma of the practice of medical racism has extended for generations all the way through the present day. Now, if the city of Philadelphia knows this, and they know that this is a medical form of racism, Planned Parenthood, another medical form of racism, and a white racist nationalistic supremacy. Press 1, of course, to exterminate and eugenic the black folk right up out of existence. Now, why this was important to me, press 1. Because we talking about the Black Holocaust. Would this be included in the Black Holocaust from the late 1800s to the early and mid 19 all the way up to? Yes, this is going into the collective of the Black American Holocaust right here in the Americas. Not from slavery, not from this industrial Magna Carta stealing. Press 1. Foreign banking poppable. Press 1. It is what it is. What can you say? What can you say? What can you say? This how you supposed to be speaking, black man. We supposed to be coming out of our hoodism, going right up into these speech patterns. And if you've been with Kev long enough, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can keep the coolness. That's what's up. That's what the world like about us. We something else, but we cannot be ignorant of the facts. Huh, Lori? You can't be ignorant of the facts. So they've been doing experiments, medical experiments. I just want to make this clear on you for quite some time. Next, I'm going to make this real fast, probably less than an hour, because I don't want my trolls. Information flows. Information flows. I don't want my trolls to have any time, any glory today. I want the real people who study to shine. We study in these asylums. We study in these asylums. When they called you crazy, remember, they just got here. So taking pictures in the asylums and all of that, that's real cute. But remember, you was in the asylum. In fact, I got reports that they burned hundreds and thousands of children in the asylums. Press 1. I heard that there was millions and millions of dead black bodies at the asylum. That's crazy, because right now I'm looking for millions and millions, like The Rock say, in millions of black bodies. That's crazy that I'm looking for black bodies right now in my investigation right now. I could have been dealing dope, but I'm an investigator like Columbo. Press 1 bar. I'm looking for millions and millions of dead bodies in places where trains and boats pick up and drop off dead bodies. That's what I'm looking for, and I found it. Press 1. I don't want to hope I found it. I found it. Genocide. Eugenics, genocide, a whole wiping out medically. I told you, the Red Cross and the federal government. The Red Cross are the ones exterminating you. Press 1. The Red Cross are the ones who've been exterminating you this whole time. They can't even deny it. Guess the asylum they got you at. Press 1, let's go to the video. Guess what asylum they got you at, family? Say, Kev got the video. They got you at the Roosevelt Asylum. Oh, yes, you're in the Roosevelt Asylum. Can you believe that? Just so happened, I'm looking for a place where Roosevelt can throw black people. Press 1. Where 6 million Jews and 6 million people by Stalin. Press 1 and J.P. Morgan. I'm looking for that. That's crazy. And this place is called the Roosevelt Hospital, better known as Blackwell Island. Press 1. Good old Theodore Roosevelt. So when they say, Kev, was America founded on racism? Founded on racism. America is built on the blood of black men and women and children, and burnt up whole societies right beneath your feet. You standing on the holy land when it comes to the Afro-American people and the travesties that's been done by the false presidents, who are nothing more than communist, neo-Nazi fascists, which I'm proving daily. I don't even know how I'm still on the internet, which I'm proving daily. I'm also proving how they stole the Magna Carta from you, and they gave you just one piece of the pie, the disorganized Constitution, and kept everything else. Press 1. So you make sure you studying appropriately and showing yourself approved in your own life, as I'm doing. What up, Lewis? So I've been looking for the extermination in the ships, and the buildings, and the Carnegies and the railroad. I've been looking for this for my grand presentation, for the grand presentation. Shout out to my research team for the grand presentation. So when you're doing that, when you got God in your heart and in your mind, and you want the revelation of truth, where you been and how are you in a white supremacist neighborhood, not just getting up here in nice clothes. No, not today. No, just regular shit. Nothing, no suit and tie. I ain't no need for that. See, because the truth will set you free. This is the Library of Congress. Press 1. Check this out, Ty. Look at this. Thomas A. Edison. Woo! Now look at this. What a, well, let me rewind that because I don't think y'all see it. Have you ever seen Man in the High Castle? This is where you can house thousands of prisoners. That looked like a ship within itself. Press one. That looked like a huge ship behind it. A whole crematorium, Red Cross. Press one. Smallpox having ass. Burn you up. Incinerating ass ship. That don't look like no regular building now. And even if it is, I don't give a damn. This is Blackwell, aka Roosevelt Island Hospital, where millions of people died. Yeah, it don't get better than this. See, I could be worrying about one person from the Migos with all the rap going on, but Kevin Gillespie wakes up with this. I don't just talk about them to give no clout, but clout. I'm looking for how we became nearly extinct and all the immigrants came over here, and look at this. Okay, this is Blackwell Island. This is 1800s, 1900. Look. Interesting. And what that look and feel like to you? Look like after a war, a whole concentration camp, don't it? Don't it? You better not lie. You better not motherfucking lie. Look like after a war, look like a whole concentration camp. That's what it looked like to me. I don't know where you are in history. In war, after war, to me, that looked like a whole, let's go back. That looked like a whole concentration camp. A whole incinerator facility brought upon the land dealing with that. Now, these are just possibility. But I'm saying, look, use your eye. You tell me what you're looking at. You tell me what you're looking at. Hold on, caller. 1 second, caller. You tell me what you're looking at. Coffee and Kush TV, Cairo University, you on the air. What's going on, sis?
Hey, good morning, Kevin. This is Karen.
Good morning, Karen.
Hey, so we're talking about asylums, right?
Yeah, and I think that was you.
I'm in Memphis.
Okay.
Yeah. We have one here. We call it Whitfield, but they call it Mississippi State Lunatic Asylum.
It's a lunatic asylum.
I never knew it opened in 1855.
Now, ain't that something?
35,000. They say that they have 7,000 coffins were buried underneath there somewhere.
Oh, ain't that something?
But 35,000 patients supposedly went in and out through the asylum.
Do you know that the asylums was also prisons and crematoriums as well?
Yes, they had incinerators there too.
They had an incinerator there as well. So let's get this straight.
Yes.
Is it fair to say that the asylums in all the different areas and hospitals had incinerators?
Darn Skippy, they did, because they didn't have a place to burn bodies like they do now when they send them to the crematory. They didn't have that. Those were housed at the hospitals.
And those hospitals was already built before they even got there.
That's right. That's right.
So nursing and all that was going on. Something big happened to which brought foreign hospitality and foreign help in that realm. Something like a coronavirus. You know what it was? They said it was smallpox.
It was like that. Smallpox and the bird flu, I think.
They're the same thing that happened to us right now. And they put the mask on.
Mm-hmm. That's what happened.
And then all of the black people was spent to the black people's side and the white people to the white people's side. They was divided up.
And we didn't come out.
And we never made it out.
We never made it out.
Never made it out. People was put on trains and sent to the asylums and to the prison.
To the asylum.
The prison
That's
and
correct.
the asylum is and the illiterate. If you were illiterate and you couldn't read, you went to the asylum.
That's correct.
Yeah. If you didn't work, you went to the asylum. If you needed
That's correct.
help, if you was on a welfare shit like that, you went to the fucking. You went to make bail, to pay bail, and that was all orchestrated.
To pay your bail.
Oh, that shit! Wild to even think 100 years ago, 150 years ago was like this.
That's what they did.
So you think, Karen? You think is more asylums? You think we gonna find more and more asylums?
Guys, Skippy, all across the country. You
Okay.
kidding me? Yes.
That date back to the 1800s?
Just like those coops, they were asylums too, all across the country.
Do you think the asylums, prisons, and internment camps were all the same thing? Possibly.
I think they were all ran by the same people. I do.
Because they were big. They're huge.
Yeah.
There's like they're like castles and mansion type shit.
They were
They're
castles.
huge.
Exactly. And those buildings were here long before they got here. Now you're getting into something else.
Which is weird. Like, so y'all, it's okay, so they became the general hospital after the destruction. After
They overthrew everything. Because at first they were mansions and they were castles.
Thug mansion, huh? Lord have mercy.
Uh-huh.
Well, we gonna watch more video. Hopefully you stick around.
I'll go back to the class.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Miss Karen. Shout out to y'all out there who learning something. Lord have mercy. Now, if you got your eyes open, nigga, this right here is not far-fetched. This ain't far-fetched. All this is destroyed now. Looking like a German city wasteland now. Looking like you wouldn't even know. You would think this is Germany. No, this is America. This is where you was. This is what ghetto. Look. What's that right there? What's that right there? Ain't that the George Washington archway it look like or something? Lord have mercy. Like a bridge, like an archway. What George Washington set up there, they'll find 100,000 dead bodies right up under there. Coffee and Kush TV, they not fooling me. Look at this. I'll be the X marks the spot. Look at that. Oh my goodness. God is good. You on the air, Coffee and Kush TV.
Thanks, Mr. Gary. This is Troy. I was calling regarding the asylum conversation that you're talking about today.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Well, the previous caller, y'all kind of hit on it. You asked if prisons and all these places were the same place. And I'd like to come in and show you how all of these places are hospitals. They all fall under the guise of hospitalier service.
Oh, my goodness. Go ahead, sir.
And that's when you look in the original order of like the Knights of Malta, they're a hospitalier organization. So the whole organization is to put tents and medical
a bunch of nannies, of nannies and doctors.
Right. So I called in on the previous show about the railroad and how the railroad ties into banking and finance and how they ran the bank wire telegraph lines along the railroad.
Okay.
So the actual railroad was like when you think about bank wires and bank transfer, those were the actual wires where they're sending.
So they're coming in through acts of service completely. Railway service, bellman, help.
Exactly. So I was gonna say if you got people here and you got a camp on one side, then you put a camp 2 states over, and then you connect a rail line between the two, and then you're sending supplies back and forth. That's how you could exist under occupation and not. You could see the occupation around you and think, oh, man, this is a part of my country. These hospitals, these high schools, these colleges, like that building you just showed. I'm like, man, they could show people wearing Lettermans and leather football helmets running in the front yard of that place. And people go, oh, shit, that was my college.
Yeah, that was Princeton University.
we don't understand that all these shits that are part of the American imagination are institutions. We're all institutionalized. All of us. This is one big ass asylum.
So that's what I was about to say. So that's why I always reference Tupac. Is like, damn, I'm going crazy in the asylum. Like like the ghetto, all it is, from the forced druggings to the Planned Parenthood. This is all one mass asylum. Like, we in a mass, like, prison, hospital, and depending on what part of the prison you own, you won't even notice it because it's big. Like, think I will be free, but I'm just on the yard and at the library all the time, allowed access to Google and y'all, while another nigga over there forced to work for small wages, maybe $12 for 60 minutes of his fucking time. We don't even see what the fuck going on. Go ahead.
Yeah, you all tiered into the same system. You know, you drive on concrete and go to work every day. You don't even, like, they got us in all these little areas sectioned off, and then the national parks and the wildlife areas, like we were talking about with Roosevelt in the previous areas, they section these areas off, but it's like, you section these areas off and make them wildlife and natural areas, but that's also an excuse for your improvement project. But the whole improvement project is an excavation. It's a taking.
That's what I was saying. It's like mining and different things, and stealing the resources. And when you're finished, you're going to demolish it and invite 12 million more of your people to come here and build homes.
You're going to break it, flood it, and then you're going to fix it and hire everybody, all your people to come fix it. And while they sitting there fixing and working on it, it takes them 30 years to fix the canal or whatever they building or whatever. Then 30 years later, oh yeah, this is their community. The people that worked on the canal, they live here. They've had this community.
No, they Native Americans now. They Native.
Exactly. Yeah, they were here. They came here with the skyscrapers. They live here, you know. And that's why I always go back to Die Hard. What they do when they stole the gold in the movie, they drove under the water dam, and tried to flood the shit out to hide their tracks.
The Hoover Dam, huh?
Well, it was something in like the Catskill Mountains or something like that.
You know, the Hoover Dam was Adolf Hitler Dam.
Mm-hmm.
That was his dam. It was changed to the man. These people are insane.
Plan. So somebody sees somebody else's plan. So you're looking at plans, right? That's already set up and being built. And then the last person that signs their names on the plans, we act like it's their own idea. Like,
exactly. It's like how
long-term plan.
every 10 years. So I've been looking for this Bruce Willis Die Hard. Which Die Hard is that when they rob it for all the gold? Which one is that?
That's the one with Samuel L. Jackson in it. I want to say it's the third one.
They all with Samuel L. Jackson in all of them, right?
No, he's only in the third one. They always got a token black dude in every movie. You know, they got the cop from Family Matters in the one with the airport or whatever. Carl Winslow, but it's the one where he's in New York and his name is Zeus. He's a cab driver. Well, no, he's not a cab driver. He just in the neighborhood and he just kind of stumbles upon them or whatever. They send the cop into the neighborhood to wear a sign that say "I hate niggas" to entice the people, to keep the police busy with racism.
Yeah, they get the insurance money off the hate. They charge you up with hate to make the police needed. When you ain't noticed that when you get mad, the police get bigger trucks.
Yeah,
them motherfuckers got all type of gear now because they get special funding right when you do it. So you get mad, everybody get funded. Because
you get mad, it creates the demand for them to bring in, and they got plus military equipment. So
not only that, because you want to go even deeper real quick, because it's your trust, it's our trust, so it protects itself against itself. Meaning, okay, all I got to do is say get mad. You get mad. Now this your shit. Yeah. You get mad. The insurance company say, hold up. Protect everything he finna destroy, and he don't really know it's all his shit. Again, because we dealing with a dead society. You think you dead. I mean, you think you alive, but you living in a whole civil litter mortis. You living in mortis shit.
More than shit. And they both born and they burn, and that's what the whole burning shit is about. That's why these folks, the fire department, the crematoriums, they gotta fucking burn everything and get rid of all the evidence. And then, oh yeah, we can't find them, so yeah, we gotta take all this money and put it back in the state. Better use now.
We can't find it. See, that's what you dealing with.
Them. There's no evidence.
We don't know. See, like I found out, right? Because I'm reading the Magna Carta, right, OG? And I'm saying to myself, I cannot believe the United States took the Magna Carta and left the Constitution. So the corporation has the Magna Carta. They control the disorganized Constitution of the United Kingdom of Great Britain. They control all of it because they took it. The whole crown. You see?
The Magna Carta.
That's because the Magna Carta is really an American. Well, I only want to say American now because these people crazy. Is originally from here. This is the Holy Grail right here. The Magna Carta, and the king of the Magna Carta is the Holy Grail, and that's what the bankers stole when they took it from here. That's the Holy Grail. That's the covenant. Remember the covenant. Remember the contract, the Constitution, the covenant. Remember everything.
Coming from Brittany is the land, Brittany, land of the covenant to you know.
Well, that's where your Great Britain. That's where Brittany comes from. Mm-hmm. Because the original Brits is on some Scott other shit, but we're all the same lineage. You're not black. There's no such thing as black dealing from over here. You can only be black if you're a refugee. You can and you up under a dead law, like a dead corporate religious structure, which would be like.
I think about it like you're blacked out. You know, when you look at a document and they try to hide shit on there, what they do, they redact it. They black it out.
That's right. Make it. They say, "Fuck it, it's a conspiracy." Charge it to the gang.
Placeholder. Yes. So I just wanted to call it and drop that, man. I appreciate chopping up with you, man. It's just crazy to be the author or to be a part of so much deception, man. It's just like when you see how heavy the deception, it's like shit. These folks is busy.
Oh yeah, this is a haunted, scary movie. Oh yeah, this is some Get Out shit.
Yeah, and that's what black people got to realize, man. Like, our black history in America, young black history in America is a real life horror story.
Oh, that's the worst horror story ever, never told.
Yeah, that's why I don't even look at movies out of Halloween. Oh, let's look at scary movies.
Did you celebrate Halloween?
Life is Halloween if you black.
Yeah, like this is some other shit. I didn't even feel Halloween. I don't even want this stuff in my life, G. This shit crazy, G. To worship the dead, to participate for grown-ass people, to get dressed and live in their brain like this a big-ass Disney World. Oh, yeah, you need the asylum. Oh, you need Santa Claus. St. Nicholas is Vlad the fucking Impaler. It's Vlad the Terrible. All these people is murderers.
You see more adults in the Halloween, more adults celebrating this Halloween. It's like everybody want to walk out and put blood on their face.
Oh, my mama. The adults, the women want to be whores, and the niggas want to be thirsty werewolves.
They want to be sexy demons with their tongues out. And
when they can do that any time of the night with their nigga, but all of them want everybody else nigga. All our women want to be looked at by every nigga on earth.
Exactly.
And every nigga want to be seen by every nigga and female on earth.
That's why social media is the perfect drug for the masses.
The drug is a weapon by communist China.
Exactly. I mean, imagine they was like, hey, imagine 60, 70 years ago, they were like, hey, we finna get them this, they not ready for this social media. Oh, they think the hip hop in the 90s is bad. Wait till they get the social media. But it's like, it's like we look at these videos and stuff now, it's like the guns and the violence and this and that, the face tattoos, that shit completely normalized. But like when you was younger and you saw like a gang banging video back in the day, you might have seen one dude with one gun that was like,
they shit. On demon time now. It's like hell on earth. And we thought it was going to be on some Mickey Mouse Disneyland cartoonish. Ooh, no, it's coming through you and your actions.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be more evil-minded people succumbing to their old social media demonic ways, because that's all it is. Motherfuckers transforming, trying to fit something that ain't even real. They like mirror on the wall is social media. Oh, it can be the finest girl in the world. If she get 12 to 25 likes, her depression level gonna go up. And motherfucker,
delete the picture.
Oh, delete the picture. That's
I didn't get enough. I didn't get enough action. Delete it.
I didn't even get it. Over. When they don't realize, most men don't even like. We don't even like to hit the like button no more because everybody can see what the fuck you doing.
it's like I can like the shit out the picture all day. I just can't be seen liking this motherfucker. You feel me?
A motherfucker ain't gotta tell you. Fucking women.
A nigga gonna say that picture. A nigga gonna screenshot that hoe and save it in his phone and everything. Like, damn, she bad, but I can't be seen liking this
look
motherfucker.
at the thirsties. Look at him. Look at the house. Oh, this one. Damn,
this nigga gonna be the first woman like all your pics. This nigga on it.
That's funny as hell. We can't do it, family. We can't allow this social media to destroy our folks like this. This is crazy, G. Yeah, it's funny, but going back to the topic, to know that, hey, what if I'm right? What if my hypothesis is right? What if over 6 million black people was put through this process and 30% only made it out, 25% only made it out?
I mean, that would mean people are waiting for the future event. It's like you living in the aftermath of what happened. And you wait for something in the future, and it's like, man, if
you are the future.
Happened, yes. You the end result of all the bad shit.
Oh, that's
you what's left over.
Oh, yeah, you're
special. You made it.
You made survived the afterbirth. You ever seen a hippopotamus give birth? just shitted you out there, full of alligators and everything. Just everything out there, wilding. You ever seen a deer give birth and a cheetah just waiting on them? Just waiting, a damn lion just waiting on her to give birth, and damn, got 2 for 1. Look at this.
Man.
And you made it.
Wow. Yeah, to think everything that your bloodline has been through and to be alive after knowing. I mean, you lived your whole life to this point not knowing. Then you start figuring stuff out. It's just like, damn, man. I can't say this. Listening to your show, the information you providing, you should be humble, man. Finding this shit out, man. The information should humble you. You know what I'm saying?
I'm humbled.
For real.
I'm like, whoa. Because we talked about the asylums. We didn't talk about it from a crematorium, prison, illiterate place for the insane. And to know, listen, we were all deemed at the time, this is Afro-Americans, insane, incompetent. So this is how they genocided us. This is why I'm like my heartbeat, because I understand now the genocide process, the eugenic process. You see, we are criminally insane. But Biden said about the 94 crime bill, even if we rehabilitate ourselves, they don't know how we did it, so we still incompetent. And now I know what that means. Like, what? It's
like if you in school, it's like when you in school and you younger and you gotta be like, man, this place is the nice part of the asylum. If I act up here, they're gonna put me deeper and deeper and deeper in the hole. You know what I'm saying? And it's like all these aspects, whether it's school, you know what I'm saying? You talk about like Job Corps program. It's like you were saying earlier, if you didn't have nothing, if they seen you out with nothing to do, you go into the asylum. And the whole idea, people forget like the temperance movements of them times. And they're like, oh, like drinking was outlawed. So if you was a drunkard, you know, if you was somebody that didn't work, if you was overweight, if you looked too raggedy or something like that. Oh
yeah, you going to jail.
Yeah, so they were trying to create a perfect image. Yeah, if you sitting around, so like ain't no sitting around, like that's where the whole vacancy laws come from.
Well, it's a communistic world. You got to work together for you to be a slave.
Yes, and you got to earn the society where you have to earn your living. You sitting outside not producing no type of economic unit of labor.
Talk to him, King.
Overall society.
Talk to him.
You're useless. So we got a place where we're gonna throw you somewhere, and you're gonna get the worst bargain deal you got. You're gonna get a penny per hour for your labor versus if you stayed out here, you could have got something and been walking around on your own cognizant. But no, you can. We seen that you couldn't do shit, so we're gonna put you on an automatic program where your whole schedule is set for you.
Program
no
time,
guesswork,
nigga. Lord,
no guesswork for you.
You need help waking up in the morning. Wake up and eat your breakfast. Wake up right now. Yep. I'm a police officer in the correctional. Wake up, all y'all take showers and do push-ups or something and get your mind ready. Lord have
and
mercy.
I'm doing a good service. I'm doing a service to humanity. I'm keeping them from. It's like I'm protecting them from themselves. Some poor Negroes can't take care of themselves. They can't do it for themselves. Poor niggers. They need our help. They need all our help we can get.
My man said it's like they protecting you from yourself. I told you that Now, this is the conclusion I came to, brother, is that I reckon in the world of business and all of the law jargon that I've learned, they legally found a way to bullshit their way to being right. Like, okay, you go protect them. That shit will sound so good in a great presentation. Yeah, we protect you against yourself as well, man. Yeah, when
man,
you get old and senile, and you go to one of these, if you go to one of these asylums and you get old, don't worry, we're right there to make sure the beneficiaries get what your ass in the old home.
Man. Hey, that's the worst one right there, because if you old and got all your benefits and did everything you supposed to do, you end up in old people asylum, the old people jail.
Facts.
And you can't own nothing when you go in there.
That's
they take your benefits.
Yeah, you can't control your destiny because you need them. They're gonna sign for everything and dope you up anyway. So you now under the custody of the asylum ward.
And look how them old folks homes be built. They got the same architecture style as them buildings you just showing on that documentary you got up. The same row house fucking, you know what I'm saying, dorm structure, row house fucking, you know, all this shit rhymes.
We call those bungalow 54, sir. The bungalows, man. That's the perfect description for the goddamn bungalows, man. Shit.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. Well, let's continue the show, man. I'll talk to you in a minute. Thank you for the call, Chappie.
Yes, sir.
It don't get much better than this, man. It don't get much better. They think you're supposed to be mad. No. When you come into real knowledge, you get sad, and like the commercial say, then you get glad. You able to see everything in the rear view. You feel me, like Tupac say, in the rear view, family. You able to see it all and put it all behind you. Like Todd, you know, that's my guy. Todd, you know, consider all the loss and just realize, you know, peep game. Coffee and Kush TV, you on the air.
Yo, what's up, Professor? This Rico.
Rico, talk to me, King.
I just come to slide through just real quick to say something.
Hold on, I want people to know this. I want people to know that Rico has been, speaking of crematorium, he's been to the crematorium here at the Row. So everybody who be in their feelings about, oh, Kev did this and Kev said, y'all gotta know Kev run the show. Kev be stressed out, feeling good, everything at the same time. Rico is filled with his truth and knowledge and searching for the truth. Rico pointed my mind back into this direction this morning. After I told y'all don't DM me, he did. And he said, I'm sorry, he did the script. And I looked and I said, oh my God, the asylums. Blackwell. I didn't even know about Blackwell. Rico, talk to him.
Yes, sir. And that's what I want to bring up. As y'all was saying, we could have went to these asylums maybe because we was illiterate of all these little things that they were saying. But
incompetent.
Refugee too was a major one. They said so if it's a riot or a fire or a flood, we became refugees right after the riot. So they come burn our own stuff, but we fight them, or we helpless to fight them. You know what I'm saying? Then they put us in the asylum. which is, we understand internment camp. So I want to say that because it's important because the lady said at least 30,000.
Could you say the internment camp in German, just in case they don't know?
The Kevin Creek. The Red Cross is red. I should have said Red Cross. Hey, look, I want to say they said at least 30,000 new patients.
You got to practice that year. Word, bro. But you're going to be at the United Nations saying this shit. You're going to sound like Hitler.
They know what that is? Like, when they got that?
What the fuck did they learn this shit from?
Just like we know how to count, we know how to do a lot, baby. Because I'm going to add up these numbers. If they were saying there was 30,000 new inmates, this is every year. This within what I want to say 3 years, that's about 100,000 people. So just within 10 years, it's about 300,000 people supposedly coming through the asylum if they're saying they're reaching in.
Which asylum are you talking about? This one alone?
Yeah, just that one alone, Kel. So
now check this out. They say the asylum is full of dead bodies, over 1 million bodies.
And that's what I'm saying.
It's called Death Island.
They was putting the people in without even putting the records in. It's a bunch of stuff that was going on, of course, devious. But like you said, so they might have said 20,000. It could have been 50,000. No telling how many people was at that asylum. Because they not telling the truth all the way. But this is what I really want to say too, Professor. When you play the video back, if you can make it a little smaller so they can be able to see the quality a little better and be able to see the full video just a little bit. That's what I want to say. And besides that, I just want to say those little things and then file back. But let
me ask you: do you think that a Black Holocaust could have happened through this hypothesis?
I definitely believe so because the way that they said that we even got to that specific asylum was through
the what asylum?
Through to coming into the Blackwell Roosevelt Asylum. They said the reason that we were even placed there for this time. Now we could have been there even before that, but they said we got placed there in 1863 because these immigrants came in to New York and they was upset about the 1863 Enlistment Act. So they said that they took it out on our people, and that's how when you read about the orphans. Now they said it's about 608 orphans at that asylum. And when I look let me say this in the 1828 dictionary. So asylum can be for the people who's maybe tried the crimes or ignorant, or it can be a safe haven for kids and stuff like that too. So
a straight orphanage.
Yes, sir.
Now check this out. What's also dope, which brings me to this article I found. Okay, stay right here. Mm-hmm. It's made in 2013, yes, July 16th. It says they deliberately set fire to it simply because it was home of offending colored orphan children. The New York draft riots. You just brought that up, brother, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the New York draft riots. And the burning of colored orphan asylum. Oh my goodness! So this was oh my goodness! So that makes perfect sense in what you're saying.
Man, they said they not, and when they write in the care, they talking about all these kids made it out safe, but they burned, and they talking about the most people died ever at this time when they did this riot.
That's what the article said. That they burned up all the babies.
Man, and let me tell you why this is important too, Kev, because the orphans, usually they would be the sons and daughters of the people who fought in the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, they will be in you call it the Revolutionary, I call it Colonel George Washington, and the Revolutionary
Whatever
War.
They even renamed it.
That's right. It's all that right there. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that's why even at the asylum, while I said that they would put the women and the children who, again, was intelligent people, and when you came from a riot or from a flood, they were saying you was a refugee, so it didn't matter your status. It's the fact that we had to move you over here with these people because this is the only place that we can put you at. So they're going to put us on these asylums. And then, like you said, we never really just making it out to, you know what I'm saying, probably the 1940s or 50s, when it's like, okay, well, now we got to do something else. We got the history set up. We can finally let them out. And whatever they let us out. But for the most part, they putting all smart people, the intelligent people. Oh, that's what I want to say. That's why that's important. Because when we think about the Uncle Tom thing about on the slave plantation, it was actually happening on these islands and these crescent creeks. They would put the people who would, they would make some of our own people become nurses, and then they wouldn't be able to come off the island, but they would administer to us and stuff like that. So they said some of the harshest treatment was coming from our own people who.
Yeah, they said that this place after the war, after everything, was just terrible. It was just so. It reads here: the horrors of the first day culminated in the burning of the colored orphan asylum, which was located on 5th Avenue between 42nd and 43rd Street. The asylum, which was managed by an association for the benefit of colored orphans, was a large, we need to do that research and who was running that, was a large 4-story building surrounded by grounds and gardens, at any given time housed between 600 to 800 children. And it was just one building. It was just a large 4-story building, that large 600 to 800 kids, and if it's that many, then they had to be 2-3. See, this place was huge, bro.
They probably had way more than 800 kids, but when they finish the article, they're gonna say, yeah, 250 kids made it out alive. But it's like y'all say 800 to 600 is that every day. So how you go to 253? At the end of this, they say when everything was said and done, yeah, 253 kids, they made it out safe and alive. Nobody got hurt. No, people got hurt. Our kids got hurt.
They said it was. They said they burned them. It was Yeah, so I just think the information is out here. I think we as a people got to come together and find a way to bring this information up to date, so our people will understand exactly where they are. You understand what I'm saying, Rico?
Yes, sir. No, I definitely understand what you're saying, Professor. I understand what you're saying, Professor, and that's why I really appreciate you, just how you started off there. Really, I didn't know how to research adequately, and that's why I go up with the spirit in you, because you definitely have molded me in, what I want to say, iron sharpen iron. So
yes,
there's never been no ill will towards it. It's always been like, in my hindsight, even when we got to the point, I'm like, well, Lord, I pray keep doing better. So when we do go there, I know that we'll be able to do exactly what we're doing now. That's how I know God is working, because in the midst of two, He there. So He been working, you know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
You are the people that's on the same stuff that we on, you know what I'm saying?
And that's what it take right there. And that's why I go so hard, is to see who make it out the furnace, see who make it through the lumps and bruises of the road. Because, bro, to be real, that's what it took me in real life. In real life, to know this shit, a nigga gotta walk certain paths in life and be righteous in the most demonic realms and shit. You understand? Shit just don't, life lessons just ain't handed to you. Niggas just don't get up one day and want to write an ebook. You understand?
And then, like you said,
but we bring the same energy on here, and whoever make it through with the information, that's who make it through. You know, no love laws, ain't no hate. Professor Gills is here to teach you. And when you do get there, you'll be like Rico, all shined up, refined, ain't afraid, ain't stuttering no more. He take his good and his laws, he go back like a Japanese respecting the instructor. Go back, be faster. You're better than this. He just go right back and be better.
I had to shout out to you. I say appreciate the Lord for the master teacher. You know, you the master teacher. And I was gonna say too though, on top of what you were saying, that dang, as soon as you just it popped in my head. Let me see.
What is what are niggas being so uptight for little words? When I see people like Rico actually just go back, fuck them words, Kev talking about. I'm finna show him and the class. Y'all can laugh if y'all want to. Watch this though. That's how I am, bro.
You making us an OG gents, man. You making us a real gents and kings man, man. Because when we make a monarch, we need real people to be able to uplift more badge and integrity. And that's what I really appreciate you. That's what more important I want to say. You making me a real gentleman. So stuff that I have been always trying to turn back from over these past years, and some stuff I've overcame, you gave me even more the power and able to generate me and energize me to start putting away even more and just being on point. So I really appreciate that too, bro.
That's real love,
you know, each
right
and every
there,
day I'm tapping in with you. No, for sure, King. And I'm going to file back because I'm want to let you get the show back. And like I said, when you show the video again, just make it a little smaller so they can really see it as it's playing for the first set. And they'll be able to see the whole smoke really good and the towers in the back of it.
Yeah, so remember in the before you go in that show I told you to watch,
Yes, sir.
What did he say? What that smoke represent?
Oh, that's them incinerating our people. They were sending them to
They
the top
incinerating.
again. Yes, sir. Incinerating, burn. They was like, dang, what's all this little smoke in the air? So much smoke in the air, look like a dust storm. Man.
Look like a what?
I said, man, come on, man.
Look like a damn dust storm.
And one of the ones where they talking about Hiroshima, huh? Like how they dropped the eighth atom bomb. That's what it was looking like. That's why I thought they could say they dropped.
I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be real. I think they did. I think that's how all this stuff got destroyed in America.
Yes, sir.
It wasn't just one. I think it was many. Our people just seen different stuff from different areas. But if they had people like us back in the day, we can communicate and say, wait, in St. Louis too, in LA too. You see how fast and we take this stuff for granted. If our forefathers had this, bro, at the time when that shit went down, bro, they would have been able to contact, leave messages for the sailors or the other troops that was fighting in the base, training for the Spanish War. And all type of protection.
Man, for so. That's how that's why God is so beautiful, because you can help understand why your people, as we waking up, you can understand why your people so lost, and why, again, how you can tell them that you go either separate yourself, and like God say, not all of them gonna be able to make it through, but you'll know the ones that's wanting to make it through, like you said, Kel. The ones who want to really go there, that's the ones you're really looking for, because you ain't got time to be playing. You know what I'm saying? Even though God bless you to be blessed right now, still ain't got time to play around, because we really understand that 150 years, 90 years ago, all this our people gone. You know what I'm saying? Didn't even have a fighting chance. You know what I'm saying? Especially back then, like you said, with all this social media and all this, even though it's a poison, it really helped and bit them. You know what I'm saying? And it's helping out the ones that God already knew was going to eventually get to what we're doing. And that's why I say, dang, it's just so cool to be able to be a part of it as a listener, as a student, but also being the one to be able to present some things too. I know this is a culture and a thing of our people. So it's in each of us, but it's up to the individual to really want to be able to do it. You know what I'm saying? And so you really showing us that. You really showing us that. And I want to say because you were just speaking on the article, and I want to say this, and this was important, how you brought up General Patton yesterday. And I had already had some info about the 76th Battalion Infantry. And let me say it again, the 76st Battalion Infantry, all Negro infantry, and they came out of New York, I believe. Some people was from a couple of different places, but what was so important about them is they was at war. You hearing their war stories in the book. You seeing that how y'all showed that gas van, the ambulance, what it was, the Red Cross, that they showed how the Nazi dude was able to let gas come through the van and kill people who stayed in the van. Who rode in the van. So like you showing me the
gas would be in the back. It'd be a gas. They'd be gassing people in the back.
Yeah, everybody in the van. So it made me think about the tank, bro. Because look, let me say this.
Go ahead, bro.
These people died in the army tank. They was like, and this one made me think about the Manchurian candidate. But they speaking on it themselves. They was like, a couple of our people died in their tank, but nothing hit their tank. And when we went to the tank, they wasn't bleeding, this one down. They was just dead, sitting in the tank. So these people was like, we can't explain it. But when you go to see the dude, because it was a dude who actually, an Afro-American dude, he actually speak on it right before he passed away, maybe 10 years ago. And that's why I like how you said, bro, because it just charged my heart like, dang, we can't even talk to as many of our veterans or people who would even been able to maybe wake up and say, you know, I got to tell the truth to you, young brother, because you know, and I'm ready to tell the truth. And you can just see on his home when they ask him, he's like, what happened to your army mate? You can see in his face when he said it, he say, man, they told us he shot and he blew up. But in his mind, you know, it looked just like Denzel Washington in the movie. He's just like, I'm just being told what I've been told, and I know that ain't even true. And just in my spirit, I say, man, they just did our people so bad. I don't even know what they was doing.
It's so bad, it takes real men to discuss it. You see?
Yes, sir.
You see, because people will run and hide from the truth. But look, we've been guiding all the way up, and look where we at. Possible infernos, possible crematoriums, possible whole Holocaust. Exactly what I've been discussing is how did we lose everything, and it's starting to seem like, yes, we were involved in a huge crematorium Holocaust burning of and eugenic style genocide put on Afro-Americans.
A civil eugenics, a civil, because that's what you see.
Say it again. A civil what?
That man, civil eugenics.
Talk about the difference, sir. Talk about that.
Law. Man, they took us out of ecclesiastical law and put us under the civil law. Went right past the common law. So when you're seeing a lot of the things that they started enacting, especially when it came to the Jacksonian area, even if that's a real area.
So what you're saying is due to emergency, so-called emergency, they bypassed common law and put you right in civil law and killed you.
Come on now.
Killed off the first, sacrificed the firstborn to the civil law, and you've been civilly dead ever since. You've been black ever since.
Man, they gave the president so many powers. I'm like, how many powers y'all gonna give him? This before the 1900s. So that's why all these little institutions that they was making up was coming through the powers of the Congress, trying to give power to the president. But that's what they said, though. Congress can't do something that they never did, and that's like what you said, that we fell asleep. So Congress was able to try to pass some of their power, which they never had, over to the president, which in hindsight, the president never had the power to be able to enact emergency powers.
In the first place.
If the original founders didn't give you the power to do that, then you can't really make that power. So it's stuff like that we waking up to and go,
but because the president is operating out of a false corporation, out of the United States of America Incorporated.
Come on now.
And without the corporation, there is no president. That's why I said this is a sovereignty. They're playing as the sovereigns. They're acting as the sovereigns. The president is pretending to be the king, when we all know the bank is the king. See, but we don't know. We think we free. You're not. You live in a democracy. You got puppet government. Mickey Mouse is more sovereign than you. You civil little mortis. You black. You know what black mean civilly, right? You don't exist.
They don't even see you. They walk right past it.
You got to be retarded to think you can come in here like a refugee when you know you belong in jail. So let us from London put the Bar Association over you. You are barred from common law by way of the bar. Let me make this clear. You are barred from common law, meaning the Bar Association handles your affairs, not righteous, upstanding law of God, the kings of the earth. Sovereign law, natural law, the original bill, the Magna Carta, all the shit that's ordained to you. You operating out of civil, federal,
out of the matrix, banking. Like you said, the matrix.
Yeah, the matrix.
And that's why it's beautiful. Like everything that you did, the way you explained it, it helps to put it in such a great understanding. From the coming out of the amorality, because like you said,
there you go, right? I'm glad you pointed it at the matrix. That's a great thing right there, because we dealing with law, the blue pill and the red pill, common law or civil law. With y'all went back to sleep for entertainment, where steak is good and rappers run your life.
Tax 5013 write-offs, like you've been saying.
That's
tax
right.
Breaks and welfare checks and all type of
that's
stuff.
Right.
It's like, I want to say this real quick, and it's about my grandma. Just real quick, she had to get the lottery tickets, right? Just says she had a revelation, and this how like you taught us don't be so metaphysical. So as soon as my grandma called me in my head, I'm in my spirit, I say, Grandma, do you even know how to really win this thing? She was trying to win the Powerball. In hindsight, she spent $78 on a couple of little tickets or whatever, and we only won $9 back. When I'm sitting on the phone with my grandma this month, like, Grandma, I'm just trying to get you to understand, because this wasteful spending is what you're doing, and you don't realize if you can get 4-5 of your friends to spend $78 3-4 times a week to try to win a lottery, y'all can be doing something way more when it comes to either helping y'all community or
if that's not the biggest form of wasteful spending,
you go pay my ticket. What you say?
I said, if that's not one of the biggest, oldest forms of wasteful spending, where you can get up and y'all could have been started a business and made that money.
I said, man, you waiting to hit the billion or whatever we're going to hit on. It's not possible right now. You had a good idea, but this ain't the one. She said, baby, I do it. I say, look, Grandma, it's not about that. It's that I'm trying to show you, and the things I've been trying to tell you is that I care about stuff that you're not even trying to see. You told me that your father didn't tell you he loved you for 20 years until you were 20 years old. I can only imagine what he was growing up through and why he would even have to feel like that. So it's stuff I'm trying to, but I really appreciate you, Ken, because that's the stuff that I know the real ones is listening to you and really trying to get our people back and right standing with the Most High first, because I know without the Most High, we can't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? So in hindsight, I'm glad you brought us out of the metaphysical, put us in the physical, and showed us how to bring in spiritual, and we put the lay it down on it, man. So I really appreciate you again, Professor. And I said I put the file back to the king. That's all I love, y'all.
My man, that's what I'm talking about. My man Rico. And again, he wants you to focus on this picture right here. This is what he wanted you to focus on. You see that smoke coming out the top there? This is all what I've been talking. I've been looking for buildings like the Carnegie Steel building in Philadelphia. Did they have these things in Philadelphia? Yeah. Asylums, yeah. You feel me? Now we finna let's go to the lunatic asylum. Okay? Because these are the stories of how you ended up in this situation. You supposedly retarded. Bungalow 54. Press 1. Bungalow 54 like a mug. Let me fix this for y'all. People gotta understand. It's deeper than just, being nice. It's about what you learning. What you talking about. We can talk about bullshit all day. That shit fun in front of the ladies. That shit fun in front of the ladies. But I'm not gonna sit up here and talk about these rappers in front of with the niggas. Bro, they got their lives, we got ours, bro. That's what's up. Look. New York City Lunatic Asylum. Architect Alexander. Restoration of value 2005. Whatever. 1834 through 1839. You see this? Northern end of Roosevelt Island. This is the northern end of it. Press 1. The New York City Lunatic Asylum, now residential building to the known as the Octagon, was designed in 1834 and 5 and opened in 1839. Press 1. We gonna get to it real quick. Let me go to the callers. Cairo University. What's your name and where you calling from?
Kevin Smith. Respect to you, Professor. Yeah. With today's current time, let's say with the homeless people, they have some type of like a care act. They could cohere homeless people. Cohere is when they give anybody a shot or medication court order. So whether you say yes or no, they forcefully will give you the medication, or went to a mental hospital, and they could do that as of now. So even with the asylum, it comes in cross with, let's say, everybody overtimes with mental health, and they're telling everybody to check in to a psychiatrist.
It makes you a subordinate. Wow, damn. You're right.
So,
especially with all of these people talking about mental health,
today,
is this and
like
this
mental health, it comes in cross effect with religion. Because they say you can see the Holy Spirit, you can hear the Holy Spirit. Well, if you go to a psychiatrist or mental health telling people you see the Holy Spirit, you hear the Holy Spirit, they're gonna evaluate you, put you 5150, and send you somewhere. And the way it is now, like
drugged up for the rest of your life.
Mental health.
That's why that's an illegal. That's why those are the Nazis, because we are connected to God, and we do get the Holy Spirit, and we do understand this. But go ahead.
Of you. They might be Germans. They're usually white people, or and then the black people they do have there, or the people of color, are just the people that hold you down. I've seen it for myself, where if you're in the mental health hospital and you say you don't want to take meds, they're going to come with like 5 staff, hold you down, and they're going to administrate that shot, whether you like it or not, and they will do that. Even today, like, the police killings, most of them now are on mental health calls. Like, people call for, whoever to get a mental health evaluation, and then next thing you know, police show up with guns, and it's justified because they say, oh, he suffers from mental health. So basically saying, like, somebody, suffering from mental health is like, walking around, with a gun, but...
Well, that's the point. I've always wanted to seem like, why do they make us look this way? I mean, they use criminals to make regular... But now I understand. It's to make us all look.
And with the asylums, they are connected with orphanage. They have them in Canada. They even have an asylum in New York next to the one of the monuments, whether it's the Statue of Liberty, but that one's been shut down for centuries. The orphanage with the babies, you know, they did disappear, whether they burnt them, killed them. If they did it with the Indian babies, they did it with the black babies. So even with the women, they had the women in the asylums where they was working, and the women's sweatshops, those caught on fire with the asylum of the women, because you got it back in those days. You know, if you didn't have a husband, if you was in witchcraft, if they considered you a witch, you were female to go to the asylum too. And
I got you.
What happened to them women over there?
So you're incompetent. You're into witchery. So what they say, you had a baby out of wedlock. All this is dealing with got you. I got you. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then people, you know, in almost like the asylum, you know, we see them as homeless people, don't have no money, but there's no telling what that individual been through, because like they say, the police could come, anybody could come and grab a homeless person and put them in an asylum for 20, 30 days, 2-4 months.
Facts.
Do whatever experiment. Nobody's going to believe him. His own family ain't going to believe what happened to him. So we definitely, as the people, ain't, you know, going to have time to hear and listen to a homeless person, you know, talk about, you know, what happened to him at a mental health hospital or whatever.
Damn. And
then that's how most of whatever they would say the upraises was happening. Like even with the women, with the asylums and all the burning up stuff, even them women start, you know, packing the streets and, you know, showing up by the thousands saying this ain't right. And it's funny because they barely just found the Canada orphanage with the thousands of kids, and we still have to do time. Like, hey, if that was happening in Canada that time, that was also happening to us at that time.
Of course.
And then even with people always still ask the question, oh, what would they do with all those bodies? Well, they still have graveyards. You feel me? So it's still a lot of ways they could do away with a lot of bodies.
Right. It's still a gang of ways. But let me get back to the show. Thank you for the call. Call in. Thank you for that. What up? My man. So this is Charity Hospital. You see, this looks more like a palace than a hospital. Do you agree? All you need is flags at the top. Okay, this looks more like a palace. Okay, this looks like something you can steal stuff from. You see, that's why I really be paying attention. Like, nah, if they took the crown from here, where were the palaces? And this shit look like the palace. That's what it looked like. It looks like where the king and the queen are at Buckingham Palace. What the fuck that look like? I'm just tired of people saying we ain't nothing, we ain't shit, we this. No. Let them know. Let them know what happened. This is where they had the World Fairs. This is what they destroyed in the World Fairs. But they don't want to relate it to you because you weren't there. Remember? What if you were there? What if they called you out to be there? What if they tricked you right there? Hospitals by immigrants. Interesting. That's why I said that stuff looked like it was bombed out. Like Germany. You go through there now, you think it was Germany or something. Press 1. Oh yeah, just a huge staircase for the hospital. Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not have the huge staircase? 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 30th floor. Why not? Why not just build it? We built this for y'all. No, that was all kings and queens. I told you my history is different from everybody else's. I don't know what the hell everybody else see. Cavro University, you on the air, what up?
Hey, I've been doing the research on the asylum in my for trans-state psychiatric, and I went and found the founder, the one who spread this whole mental illness thing throughout the country. Her name's Dorothy Dick. During the Civil War, she was the superintendent of the Army nurses, and she brought it to Congress, the Bill of the Indigent and Insane. That was 1854, 1855-ish. And that they set aside 10 million acres of land for the same asylum. And I just found that interesting. Not only that, she had meetings with Pope Pius. So she seemed like she was like contracted.
So Pope Pius was around in the Civil War, and Woodrow Wilson was around during this time. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And they both are the same person. Go ahead. Incredible, because I keep telling the people the Civil War just happened. But go ahead.
Yeah, in the state were contracted. They were incentivized to go out and pick people up. So they were getting paid by the federal government to pick people up and put them in the insane asylum. And at that point, they were running all types of experiments because they were saying that mental illness comes from infection. So they were pulling out these people's teeth. They were chopping off limbs like Leopold.
Like Leopold, huh? Right here in America. Ain't that something?
Right. And man, it's wild because all of the conditions and stuff they talk about in slavery, all that stuff was happening in these insane asylums.
That's crazy.
They were binding people up, chaining them naked, beating them with rods to beat them into submission and obedience. Which, man, but yeah, that's Dorothy Dick. She all up and down, well, it was the Midwest and all up and down the East Coast.
So it was more than Margaret Sanger. It was a bunch of them.
Yeah, Daughters of the Confederacy.
Daughters of the damn Confederacy.
Yes, sir. But man, I just wanted to add that to the class, man. But man, keep doing your thing, man. Thank you.
Of course, thank you, champion. My man, family, y'all gotta know this. Y'all gotta know this. I told you I was gonna find those arches. I told you X marked the spot. I told you I was gonna find them arches. I told you. Let's get back to what's real though. I told you I was gonna find them. Now, I just want y'all, I did all this for y'all to go to my Patreon. My Patreon is patreon.com/KevGillsTV and support the broadcast. Go there, have great intelligent things to say during class. We're about to watch great videos. There's the art where X marked the spot. We're about to watch great videos pertaining to this. And one of them is the starting of an interview somebody does about the asylum so we can get a grand perspective. It's not just us. So I'm going to be sending out this link within the next 30 minutes, if that, to get you guys there about 4:30, 5 o'clock. And we can all be there listening to this interview and watching this video on Blackwell, a.k.a. Roosevelt Hospital, a.k.a. what I call, look, this is kingdom type shit. Look at this. They bombed up. Look at this. Let's be honest. This is Germany. This will make Kevin right. You see this right here? I was a big fan of World War games and video games. Man, they'd tell you this was Tartaria. Look what it say right there. Gold dust. Press 1. Look, they'd tell you this was Tartaria. They'll tell you where all the black people. Man, they'll say what happened to all the things because they was all kingdoms. I bet you all those palaces was on some, you can stay here, we can build a place for our people can build themselves up and stuff like that. I bet you. Negro land type of shit. I'm trying to tell you. The Arch of Titus again? Okay. Didn't Kanye get sent to the mental hospital a couple of years ago? Yeah, and didn't he get, ain't they talking about mental evaluations now? Bingo. Hit the like button, 80s baby. Yes, Kanye did. So Kanye is playing that role of, oh, I'm sorry, I'm mental evaluation, I got a shot. He's playing the mental patient. He needs help. And guess who giving it to him? Jewish media and all of that. And he mentioning God. Because they trying to make that the invocation of God and holding them accountable a part of that. Do you understand? They'll say this information is crazy because they can't combat it. So they seem they need their entertainers and monkeys to pass away every day to keep y'all attention from the inevitable. Boy, if we had 600, 700, 800 people, then 1,000 and 2,000 and 3,000 researchers, the possibilities is insane because you got one guy on YouTube with billions of other YouTubers, right? Most of the ones who keeping you in ignorance is funded by the big boys who want you in asylum democratic minded tendencies down there at the bungalows ready to be cremated and used for insurance purposes. Press 1. So make sure y'all get over there. Kevro University, Coffee and Kush TV. Make sure y'all there. You know? Let me go to the next one. This is important. Let me finish reading. According to New York Landmarks Preservation Commission report 1976, the lunatic asylum was erected in response to desperate need for proper accommodation for the insane. By the mid-1800s, the island was expanding with medical and institutional developments, a reflection of the city's progressive changes. Oh, they're giving them big dap too. To know what these people went through and then watch how they told history as if it's glorious and they help criminally insane people is insane. But this looked like a ship itself. Look at this. In 1894, the asylum was renamed Metropolitan Hospital, what was abandoned by the mid-1950s. Look, 1894, but was abandoned by the mid-1950s. So from 1894 to the mid-1950s, that's a huge motherfucking gap. Press 1. See how they always jumping around time with your brain? In 1894, the asylum was renamed Metropolitan Hospital, but was abandoned by the mid-1950s. Like the smallpox hospital, it was immediately began to fall into great despair. So there's a smallpox hospital as well. I said there's a smallpox hospital as well. That's a shame. That's a shame because guess what? I got the smallpox hospital in my, you feel me? We gonna watch all we gonna watch all these. It's at Roosevelt Island as well. I want my class to be the brightest of the brightest. You feel me? Now, I think that they did this to us permanently and wanted to exterminate and eliminate historic building, American building on survey, American building survey. Let me see who calling in. Kentucky, you're on the air. What up, Kentucky?
Hey, this is TJ. How you doing, Kim?
I'm good. What's up, TJ?
All right. So I was researching the Reconstruction era. So I came across the Freedmen Bureau, and it was also called the Refugee Bureau. So the function of the Bureau was to ration out clothes, to operate hospitals, to supervise refugee camps, to establish labor
the federal,
contracts.
that's what the FBI really is?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
That's when Black people had to start submitting licenses for marriage. And then also they monitor transportation. So that made me think about yesterday when we was watching the video, they was talking about the mobile furnaces.
Oh,
and
shit.
I don't. Right. So then listen to this. So this is how the churches started, like how they started switching over their method, their religious method. The Red Cross Salvation Army started around came over from England around about 1860. And so I feel like this is when they started the eugenics, like they made it legal. Before they was forcing, now they made it legal. And they like, okay, come on, we're going to help you. We're going to steal your clothes and then we're going to ration them back out to you. We're going to steal your house and then we're going to put you back in it. But now it's a hospital. Oh, and then colleges started, HBCUs.
Would you just say it again? You broke up on me. What'd you say?
They started establishing HBCUs as well.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Maybe this is where this comes from. Maybe a lot of these older Princeton universities was parts of asylums and all that. I mean, why are they putting them through this ritualistic behavior? Like, where does this come from? Honestly.
I don't know. But then it's one more thing. Well, I got two more things. So then I found the Reconstruction Act. So there was two Reconstruction Acts of 1876 and 1867 and 1876. So the first one was the resubmission of the Southern states into the Union. And then the second one was when they placed military all throughout the South.
Oh, my goodness.
And I also sent you.
Do you know what year that was?
I think the first act was 1876, and then 1867, and then they placed military down through the South in 1876.
Okay, go ahead.
And so then I also, when you was talking about the coups, I found a list of cities that have been flooded, and it literally every state in the United States has cities, at least one city that is underwater. And then I also found a list of ghost towns. And so each by state, so every state has at least.
Now wait a minute, sister.
About 3 ghost towns.
What if all these little ghost stories of ghost towns is really subliminal again about Black people and they spirits hunting the land? Like, you know, I watched this show called this movie back in the day called The Hunted. And the lady named, it was about this house that was used as an asylum, and they burned all the babies up. They killed all the babies. You know? And I didn't know as a 12, 13-year-old what the hell that was. I'm like, damn, this some haunted movie shit. Okay, Eleanor tripping. It's some crazy shit, 3D graphics. But now, as I'm older, I see that they've been telling these stories this whole time.
They've been telling us, and I'm gonna send you information about McDonald's. It's the way Ronald McDonald. But anyway,
you know,
I'm gonna go back to it.
I love our people though. Shout out to you, Queen.
All right. right. Have a good day.
Have a blessed one. Yes, ma'am. You gotta love the sisters. And guess what else? What? I'm gonna send you something about some fucking McDonald's shit too. What? Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. If we had an office, it'd be off the ringer. And that's what we need, a journalist office. I'm going to get one just for the hell of it. A whole journalist. It'd be like the 1960s and shit. Over again with Clark Kent. All over again. We got to get back to journalism. We got to get back to what's important. And the reason why why rap is cool and this isn't, it's because no men are finding this cool. Y'all gotta understand, we gotta make this shit cool. I don't care what you gotta do. You gotta make the smart guy cool again. The guy, the thinker, the dudes out here with independent thought processes and not caught up in the system, the life and shit. This is all 18, like as I said, 1800s. So I bet you, along with these asylums, this wouldn't be the first asylum they burnt up with these black children. I'm pretty sure that all of these fires that was going on was dealing with that World Fair shit, was actually this type of shit. Because in real life, these hospitals are humongous. The World Fairs are humongous. The hospitals was glorious before they was the hospital. You can look at it. Palace. And these, ever since they told us this theater of war of Navy men going overseas and fighting for the French and this one and that one, before that, you was good. You had everything. You had hospitals. You had movie theaters. You had banks. I'm proving that. You had this. You had that. It's nothing to defeat this nation and throw your banner right over the hospital, a big old red cross. Your people were the ones deemed by law to be incompetent, retarded, always playing. Anybody playing in this world but you. That's why I say retarded. Bungalow 54, wasteful spender, Democrat over there. That's why I do things like that, because it hurt, but it's a way of teaching. Cairo University, you on the air? What up?
Hey, what's up? This is Terrence. I'm calling out of New York.
What up, Terrence?
What's up? I'm kind of like, it's weird. I'm kind of like blown away, but I also have nothing to say, but also just a lot of research. It's one of those situations where it's like, wow.
Go ahead.
I grew up in North Carolina, and growing up, we always had Butner, which was like the crazy institute. But what Butner also was called was Dorothea Dix. And so we knew, like, we would joke as kids, they're going to send you to Butner if you were cutting up or acting, or like, somebody did something kind of teasing them. You're like, okay, don't make me call them. They're going to send you to Butner, to Dorothea Dix. And so now what you're saying, so what I did was I started doing some research on Dorothea Dix. And her history is kind of shady. They don't give you a whole lot.
Uh-huh.
But like the one caller said, she did go meet up with Pope Pius IX. Also, what was interesting, I thought, was her nickname was Dragon Dix. And I know Nazi. I'm not too familiar with Nazi symbolism and German symbolism and stuff. But I feel like the dragon is one of their symbols.
Well, that's I think the red shield, the Rothschilds, their logo is the red dragon. But go ahead.
Wow. Okay. So I saw that, and then I was just thinking too, like somebody was saying, like I do believe like a lot of these institutions and hospitals were once palaces and castles because of the way they look, and so that gives you Dungeons and Dragons, because if you have this, the Red Cross connection, Dorothea Dix, all this stuff, it gives you like. So I thought that was kind of like, it kind of blew my mind as I was looking through it.
Yeah.
But interesting enough with Dorothea Dix, there's like two other people I was looking. I know you had the Blackwell situation, so I looked up some Blackwell stuff too. I know Elizabeth Blackwell is one of the people that was involved, and then there's also Clara Barton. Clara Barton. So those three were kind of like pinnacle with establishing a lot of the Red Cross as you cross-reference some of these things, it's like all of them were about the American Red Cross, all of them were about mental health and putting up mental institutions. All of them have close ties with Europe and were in Europe. Like Clara and Elizabeth Blackwell, they're like both born in Europe. They're saying that Dorothea Dix was born in like Massachusetts, New England or something, but I have a question mark on that because like the other caller said, she has close ties with Pope Pius IX over in Europe. So I'm kind of like, that's just a question mark when it comes to her. And with her time in Europe, it's like, does it even matter because she's so closely affiliated with Europe? And let me see. The crazy thing with Clara Barton specifically, I know the other caller was talking about every city. When I researched her, it was talking about all like it kind of like her with her. You really start getting the cities and what happened,
right? Because
they put it on the internet. They said that in Michigan there was a fire in 1882. In Charleston, South Carolina, there was like this earthquake. So it's like all these disasters happen around her.
everything is hitting right there at that time, right? Earthquake, fire, and flood. Perfect time for us to move on and help somebody. You can't resist help now. I mean, come on.
Right. So I thought that was wild. And you know what's crazy? So I'm going to tell you this morning. When I saw that you were coming up, I started doing some research in Blackwell. And like I said, I'm here in New York now. And I remember, like you said, a story about the airplane drive. And I remember just leaving when you go through LaGuardia in Brooklyn.
Yes.
You always fly for Rikers Island. And I feel some kind of way knowing that it's a lot of black men and women in that prison. I'm like, dang, here I am in a flight. And, I'm looking down, these people in prison and just can't, I always feel some kind of way about that. And so it's crazy because with Blackwell Island, well, I actually pulled it. Let me pull it up I pulled the information.
Go ahead.
I want to get this in. Right. Okay. I have it. Yeah, here it is. So it talks about the abuse. So it's so wild too how like the Black Holocaust, I'm using some terms for what they call the Jewish Holocaust because it really shows you what happened with us specifically.
Oh yeah.
Like in these asylums. Yeah, because in these asylums it's giving me like what was going on before, like you said, the incineration and it's crazy too how incineration and incarceration is so close in wording. I thought that was crazy.
Wait, say that again?
Like, so we have incarceration and then you have incineration. Like, I think that's wild.
Oh, shit. So that probably goes hand in hand because, again, once you're judged and you're incarcerated, I mean, they didn't wait on death row. You went straight into the furnace. You understand? If you're guilty,
I'm like,
and you're under this new regime / church, think of what it means to be condemned and go to hell. What do you think that means? The eternal fire. What do you think about all this? What do you think it's sacrifice? What do you think all that shit is? Where do you think that shit come from? It's all stemming from these Orthodox Russian, Germanic, crazy draconian folk, to tell you the truth. It's like some alliance with the Turks and Poland. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, those words are too close to not, because even when you say them, you can kind of mess up and say the wrong word.
Yeah.
Like if you're not careful, I'm like, those words are too closely connected to not be connected. But yeah, when it was talking about the asylum, so I was just thinking about all the things that happened, like, as you were talking about the insane asylum, I was like, dang, that's the same thing when they teach us about the Holocaust in some movies and television shows you see. Yeah. It's like when they talk about in these facilities, they were given spoiled foods, cold baths, they were all these different things, the supposed treatments that they call them for the insane asylums will be the exact same thing that they would say happened in the Holocaust to Jewish people when they were being tortured. So here they call them treatments.
Okay, what they call them here? Would you say they call them what? Treatments. I'm fucking dead. I can't do this anymore. Okay, so what you've been noticing pretty much is, I can't do it, man. The similarities between what they said happened to the Jews and what happened to you is quite similar, but what you're noticing is yours say treatment and theirs say humanitarian,
torture. Like they're they torture the.
So the Jews was tortured, but you were treatment in an asylum. Oh,
right,
my goodness.
right. And when you talk about the horror story, it clicked to me because American Horror Story, I didn't watch it yet.
Oh,
but they
shit.
have actually a lot of the shows kind of relate to it, but specifically they have an insane asylum for one of their seasons. And it talks about the wrongs, like you look at it, they talk about the wrongs where they put white people. So then it's wrong when you're looking at it, when you see like the white characters versus if they were all black characters.
Yes, and then it's treatment.
So it's really about the mentality of us, like where we're at in our heads.
Yes. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. Every individual got to say, wait a minute. I mean, how could you give the Jews even have the thing and label that torture when this is seen as some form of treatment and this was wrong, we shouldn't have did this form of treatment, we were new to science at this time, so forgive us for this and that.
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying? The rhetoric begins to change, whether conservative or liberal, doesn't matter. It's truth or not. You feel me? Go ahead.
It's truth. Yeah, so that helps, I guess, them. But you took it a step further, and you're giving us the history and who's behind it. So now we can start pointing these people out. Like, okay, if you were the Red Cross, we know, like, you need to step up to the plate. Like, it's like you gave us the ability to start pulling names and like, now who are you? And what was your real intention? And why do you like these spies and like what's really going on?
Like, okay, so who are you affiliated with? Since we're saying you did this to us, okay? And I'm like I've been saying, the Queen of England and the Red Cross is hand in hand. That's how she got the crown. But I got the picture up right now. The Queen of England meeting with these nurses of the Red Cross. They did Australia like this. Canada, they did this to our people all over the place.
Yeah, they're doing it now. Like they're right in Haiti right now.
Right now in Haiti.
And it's like we know, and we all like I grew up. I was a kid when we finally was like, I'm not donating to the Red Cross. They be taking the money. Like we say it, I had been 19 or so. When we finally, I was like, because I felt your heart goes, and you're like, oh my God, I really want to help these people. You want to donate. And so even back then, it was like we knew the gig was up. But now you're taking a step further and connecting it to history to the past 200 years, and you're like, not only is the gig up, but this is what we need to look into these people.
Oh, this is worse than reparations. We need to halt reparation and everything and just find out what truly happened so we can get a sense of the trauma before anything. Because if we're in an asylum, it's due to you. And if we're in an asylum and the patients are saying, look what you did to us, I think that's a blessing. That's a blessing.
Right.
To where you can come to competence and say, look what you did to us.
Right. Right. And say, no more.
That's right. No, as a collective.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm enjoying the share. Like, I'm putting things together. Like, I was gonna say Blackwell, and it's crazy. It became the ward. So the women stayed in the old institution, and they built a new institution for the men. Oh. And that new institution is Rikers freaking Island in New York. Like I said, I live in New York. Almost every black person in New York has been through Rikers Island.
That's like us in California. Every black person, black male, has been through LA County Jail. That's why I joke about it so much, because it's like somebody got to feel it. So if that's true on the West and that's true on the East, then it has to be true on the North and the South. It has to be. If we all go to jail, bro, we all got this bond over us. Oh my goodness, G.
Okay, here it is. I want to read this to you. You're right, correct. So here, I want to get the exact wording so it kind of comes to life. So it says the Metropolitan Hospital occupied the asylum building, and Blackwell's Island was renamed Welfare Island in 1921.
What?
When the Metropolitan Hospital moved out of the building in 1955, the old asylum was left empty. Like most of the original buildings, Blackwell Island, the asylum fell to ruin.
The Welfare Island? No, you didn't say that. Oh my goodness. That's where this comes from. It's not communism, it's straight up bankism. They really stole the trust. And I know a lot of people don't know what I mean, but a lot of people do. Oh, so they're just welfare island. They just convict you. You go to jail. That's Rikers?
Yeah, and so, gosh, okay, so let me put this together. So it says the Manhattan Psychiatric Center. The Manhattan Psychiatric Center is a New York State-run hospital on Ward Island in New York City as of 2009. Ward Island, and so, gosh, I don't know if I made the right switch. So basically, it goes from Blackwell to the I don't know if I'm making this connection. But it's like the same island, it's the same thing.
No, yeah, but Ward is specifically in law. That's real. When you say Ward, that's what I was talking about, the trust. See, all of us go to jail, so it makes them wards over us. So all blacks in New York go to the ward, which is what? Rikers. Them the criminal niggas can't get right. Not the side, you can go to the doctor, I guess, but most of us just going to Rikers. Are you in LA? You going to CCB, criminal court. You going to county jail. You going to Wayside.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it shows you the timeline. So what you're giving us too is the timeline from where we are now into how it goes from Rikers to like Ward to Manhattan Psychiatric to Blackwell. So like if you work backwards, you're getting how this stuff kind of moves through, and we have that connection now. Like, well, we're not crazy.
And of course, it's in writing, but the cold thing about it is when you learn the legal terms for what you're saying, oh, you're going to be blown away. You're going to be fucking even more blown away. Because they beat you physically and they beat you in law. They had to get you a 13th and 14th Amendment for this thing to go past. That's where you become a criminal or incompetent. So they got us in the prison system. They got this has been going on. This is how they've been doing it the whole time. That's why Tupac said about the criminal Clinton Max prison industrial complex. It's like, that's the issue. That's crazy. This is insane.
It's wild.
I thank you for your call, champion. Shout out New York.
All right.
Anytime. Call in. Feel free to do so. Look, check this. I just got this report on Instagram. I just got this. Look at this. This is Progress Index. Check this out. Racist origin. Central State was built to imprison black people in nightmarish condition. Ain't that what we were just talking about? Huh? Okay, 5 of Virginia's 8 mental hospitals, including Central State Hospital, are recent casualties of the coronavirus pandemic, which is identical. Let me stop there. These are my words to the smallpox. See, it's all going down right in these locations. If you got the information, you'll be able to compare in different cities and different states and come together in information. Look how beautiful this is. I'll do it. Fine. Support the broadcast. Go to my Cash App. Hashtag is Gills Gang. Go to my patreon.com/Kev Gills TV. And when I open up Discord for movies and things of this nature, participate. Feel free. Listen to this, y'all. Are recent casualties of the coronavirus pandemic, resulting in a low staffing coupled with high patient populations. And while Central State was weathered numerous crises in a 150-year history, it rarely has had to close its doors to new admissions as it did this month. A long history of some ugly chapters. Some of the story began 1844. Dr. Francis T. Stribling, who for many years was superintendent of the Western Lunatic Asylum at Staten, suggested at a national meeting in Philadelphia that no provisions had been made on state levels to care for insane colored people. Press 1. No provisions had been made to. We will simply remark that for many reasons it could be desirable that an institution for colored persons should be entirely distinct from those occupied insane whites. See? He wrote in let me stop, bro. How you gonna be racist with retarded people too? Press 1. Let me stop. I'm gonna hit this for 1864 people.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
That ain't fair. Something wrong with you. When you gotta make the retarded people, press one, be racist too. Come on, a person with Down syndrome does not care about another person with Down syndrome about he African. Come on, y'all. You gotta do better, America. We simply remarked that many reasons would be desirable that it should be different. He wrote, in keeping with the racial segregation of the time, while suggesting that such institutions be created and managed by the same directors and supervisors as the white hospitals. So the same people, different. Oh my God. Professional medical care for mentally ill black people was virtually non-existent in the pre-Civil War days. I doubt it. They always want to make it seem like nobody cared about you pre-war, pre-them. Since the 1840 U.S. Census had for the first time introduced the category of the insane and idiot. Stribling and other so-called health professionals cited and documented rise in the insane and idiotic black people after the war by conducting that slavery provided the best protection against insanity. Freedom, these racist white doctors claimed, often led to madness. So, being a slave, you didn't take the conditioning of you was a slave. You know, I ain't no damn slave. I own property. Oh, you got to be crazy. You don't own no damn property because guess what? You got dementia. Here, take this because you tripping. You don't know where you are. I'm in a hospital and they took me last year. Press one. I'm reenacting old people back then. I know where I'm is. Press one. Oh, Mr. Gillespie, take your shot. Clunk upside the head or something. Press one. Heard in the distance. Press one. It seems he's out. Let's get him to sign his whole land over to us. Press one. Mr. Johnson, how are you? Oh, blessing. You're incapacitated. Oh, looks like you're going to be handing all of your things over to the Catholic Church. What the fuck? Thanks for signing your life over and soul over to us. Goodbye. You're going to the inferno now. What? They'll drug you up and take you to the inferno. Do you understand what I'm saying? Y'all think I should make movies, huh? They will drug you. What? Ma'am. Everything coming out your mouth is, but you know you going to the inferno. First one, you know these people crazy. The Nazis burn you up. Oh, yeah, them Nazis won't give a fuck. They go with fire. They burn you up. Coffee and Kush TV, you on the air. What up?
What's going on, Kel? This B calling in.
B calling in from, what up, champion?
From Texas. Hey, we was talking. I'm listening to the class today, and you were talking about the asylums. And I was doing a little research, and it brought up John Kellogg, like Kellogg cereal. And,
man.
He started with an asylum, and then another word they used for asylum was, it's synonymous, is sanitarium.
Oh, my goodness. So they probably was putting stuff in a Frosted Flake? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they probably was, but
maybe the Frosted Flakes is chemically based. Maybe it's eugenics.
Yeah, he believed in eugenics.
Oh my goodness!
And they said the difference between the asylum and the sanitarium is the asylum is run by the state. It's a state-run facility. And a sanitarium is a privately run facility.
Oh, that's even worse.
It's the same thing.
But it's worse. The private prison? The private asylum?
Yeah.
Oh,
you don't know what they're doing.
That's Nazi ran. That's MK Ultra type. They'll tape your eyelids to your forehead and keep you up for a week while playing pornographic material. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I looked at the definition of sanitarium.
Go ahead.
And then it led me to another word. Sanitarium, it says the establishment for the medical treatment of people who are convalescing or have a chronic illness. Now, the word convalescent, I remember Tupac rapping, and he used that word, and I never decided to look what that was. Now, I looked that word up. It said convalescent, a person recovering from a illness or operation. So when they label you mentally ill, you become a convalescent.
Yeah, that's why he said I refuse to be a convalescent. You feel me?
Right.
I refuse to be that, bro. That's crazy. I keep telling you, Pac was on some. Now I understand what he really meant by this whole thing. Like, damn, bro, that's deep. That's deep, man.
Right. And another thing with John Kellogg that I seen, that he it says his sanitarium was founded by members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Now that go back to Utah and all them other people that you was telling us about, with the holding the names and everything.
Where they get the names from? Say it again.
That goes back to like around the area with the Mormons and Utah, and all of them come from there. So they know the names and they know what they doing.
Because they're the workers. They're the workers, the old workers from the hospital. So they know the names. They will have to forge the names. Go ahead.
Right. And man, that's pretty much what I had to add. I thought that was interesting. I thought
Very
that was, like that, man. I'm going to go and sit back in class. I appreciate you, brother.
Another day, another reason to thank God we alive. Thank you, champion. My man. See, no other YouTubers in our community is even talking about this. So I want to say Kev copying nobody. Kev, no, we not talking about this. This is important. Well, the Black Holocaust to me is the greatest story never told. Freedom has not been made, blah, 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 blah. Where we at? So what we got right here, is a connection that separated the blacks from the whites in the asylums. That'll put them all the way over there. We need to start seeing just how many people were defined as insane. And the definition of insane in regard to black folk regarding the Reconstruction into the Jim Crow era was dangerously malleable and was sometimes based on the sole opinion of a white person who may have been suspiciously wary of the post-emancipation social order. So it's just at the mercy of anybody playing the role of doctor. All this, 1882, all this is before the overthrow of Charlottesville, North Carolina. Remember all this. So they don't get you thinking you was just a street punk, or you was a slave, or you was this, or you was that. We're talking black orphan children. Let me get up here, play on the internet, and be irresponsible with the words, or talk about death all day. Or we can get to the basics. You feel me? Support the broadcast. Let me go to my Cash App. Let me see who out there right now needs that shout out right there. Shout out to my man, Tor. He said, "For this is a great show." Miss Crystalline says, "For I appreciate you, King." Shout out to you, Queen Yvette, out there in Georgia somewhere. Shout out to you, Taj in the building. Shout out to you once again, always contributing to the program. And shout out to my chat room for keeping this chat rolling and up to par. That's what I'm talking about. Say something. You know, how many people were murdered by Planned Parenthood? Y'all don't hear me. This is all after this. That's the after effect. They couldn't kill you no more, so they had to trick you into death. They had to trick you into death. Oh, yeah, come sign up. Right here. Join this. Right here. Go up, step right up. You be put in asylum so fast. You'll be put in asylum so fast. So let me listen to this real quick. Look at the secrets of Rose. I didn't even listen to this.
So where did it all begin? The island was initially called Minnehaha by the Lenape, the Delaware Indians at the time.
Look at this. And they put them up. See? They put them up. They put them up right there. Coffee and Kush TV. You on the air. What up?
Hey, Kev. This is Crystal, and I was just calling in. You know, I'm here in Georgia, so I started looking up insane asylums here. I was with my grandmother the other day, listening to the show while we was riding to take her to the doctor's office, and she had mentioned Milledgeville, Georgia, is where they used to send, because she heard you say something about asylums, and, you know, she's listening, because she like history, too, so she's listening.
Right.
And she's like, oh, they used to send our people down to Milledgeville, Georgia, so I got to looking into it, and around this time, like 1837, when they say it was supposedly founded, it's the largest one in the United States, and it's Georgia. You know, it has to be connected to King George in some kind of way. Georgia. You know,
right.
Just thinking. So it's the largest one, 2,000 acres. If you see how big this place is, it would look like it. And you have to see the pictures of it. It's massive, like over like 200 buildings.
I knew
but it's all dealing in around the same time during the Civil War. You had Sherman's March going on down in Georgia. They even said something about Sherman posting up at this asylum. You know, so it was war tactics.
Do they look like castles down there as well?
Yes, that's you got to see the pictures.
Okay, send me some pictures.
All right.
Thank you so much. Lord have mercy. Shout out to Georgia. Look at these castles. That's what I'm saying. Like it's something else. It ain't just, some ghost stories.
The intense spreadability of smallpox and the lack of knowing exactly how to treat it during this time in history.
And I don't believe nothing these people say. They did it. They did it. They helped white supremacy and Nazism by saying, the Nazis didn't know how to treat it. That's why the Jews died. That's what that shit sound like. Oh, you know why so many Jews died? Because the Nazis didn't know, they put the wrong gas mask on them when they went into DEFCON 3.5. That's what that shit sound like to me. What the fuck are y'all talking about in this world? That's why I'm needed in this world. Support the real. Don't support the phony. Coffee and Kush TV, you on the air. What up?
Hey, Cap, this is Troy. I was calling back.
What up, Troy?
I just want to respond. Yeah, the caller before, he made a mention about John Kellogg, and I got some I studied about this guy in school. And you want to ask about was he putting something in the cereal?
I'm being silly, but you know.
no, you're not being silly. Your spirit asked a good question because
go ahead.
That was a part of the temperance movement. That cereal was created. The bran flakes was created as a meal stipend for Puritans because it was something they were supposed to eat all day that didn't have no spices, herbs, or sugars in it because they was like, okay, it don't have all this other stuff in it. So, because they felt like all those seasonings and flavorings of food led people to masturbate. So it was a part of
it made niggas horny.
Exactly.
Oh. And
that was a part that was, you know what I'm saying? So that was a part of the temperance movement, you know, the whole like prohibition era, like we're trying to clean up the face of the drunken and the left behind in the street. So basically all these leftover people that you threw in this country that don't have no origin, all these vagabonds and stuff that's about, we got to clean these people up and then put them back out there. So we got to pick these people up and institutionalize them. So if you're a vagabond, if you're a masturbator, if you or whatever, you liable for it to be treated like the minority status. You're a minor, so you got to have somebody operating on your behalf as an adult.
But everybody masturbates.
So that would mean everybody got just cause to go into the same asylum. But anybody IP address that's touching themselves, they're like, oh, you got a compulsory demon inside you that we need to exercise.
Oh, but that's what the church used to execute your dumb ass.
Right. Oh yeah, I ain't saying this shit makes sense.
That'll put you in the furnace. That'll put you in Catholic jail. down there at the insane asylum.
They caught you touching yourself behind the barn back in the day, and then they told on you. So you up there getting burned because you were touching yourself.
That white lady catch you, girl, listening to Cardi B. Press 1, talking about WAP, and you up in there, press 1.
I hope they realize that the WAP, all that shit. Like, don't y'all realize this woman that they showing you, this woman was illegal, and they burned her at the stake. They burned all the Megs and Cardis and all the women.
They burned everybody. They burned everybody, more than everybody. But if they had a reason they would burn me too. They had a reason to burn your black ass too. They just make up.
Oh, anything. You can read for yourself?
Oh,
you
what?
Can read? Come here.
We heard you had a YouTube page, but you up here talking about we put you in an asylum and a crematory. That's against the rules and regulation. That all the Oompa Loompa troops will come and throw me in the furnace.
And what they do, it's illegal to talk about the insane asylum in the furnace, so what we going to do? Throw you in the insane asylum in the furnace.
Just to prove that ain't real. That's how they prove that it ain't real. Because everybody else going to say, see, we don't want to be like Kev, so it ain't real. We might as well listen to Tariq Nasheed. At least. See, we don't. Yeah, see, that, like he didn't go in the furnace. We don't want to go in the furnace with Kev. We want to go with Tariq Nasheed, brother.
Yeah, we want to be pimping Afro the black whatever, you know what I'm saying? What's the modern black? What's today's black term? Okay, I'm gonna do it and ride this new black name out for the 30 years till they come out with a new one.
That's right. But that whatever it is, it ain't gonna get you to furnace because it's federally approved. You see?
Oh yeah, you don't get crispy that way. You stay out the furnace. You stay fresh. You stay fresh and clean.
You stay fresh and clean. Like Krispy Kreme. Go ahead, Chubby.
I was gonna say, as far another thing about the asylum is the Batman. So you got Bruce Wayne, that's right. Batman. He owns the whole city, but also his family, the other side of his family, owns the asylum, Arkham Asylum, where he throws all his enemies, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, damn.
This man is playing the game on both sides. Batman is a Klan member, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He's a Democrat and a Republican. He's a Nazi white man playing both sides. Yeah, he's a fusion party.
Yeah, that's why they wanted to show you this character and little kids. They got kids growing up thinking, oh, okay, I can be two-faced like this. I go outside then at night, I can put on a robe and this and that and beat the motherfuckers up that I was sitting across the table at during the day.
Yeah. Just put the clothes on, put a Batman instead of the white robe. You put the black costume on, throw them off, and go beat up the same people you was just making deals with.
Batman is an asshole. This Batman running the insurance racket on Gotham City. That's why you got to keep this up a secret. I'm like, wait a minute, Bruce Wayne is Batman. He tore the bridge up, and then Wayne Enterprise came back and fixed the shit.
Where he live at? Where Batman live at? He live underground, where the devil live.
Yeah, underground, and then Wayne live up in the mansion, you know, in the manor, and then the manor look like an insane asylum.
Look,
but it's like this.
Here's another one. Check this out. While we're talking this shit, what about Adam's family? I mean, we're talking Adam, right? The first one, they get Adam's family in a mansion.
Adam's family. Wow.
You got people, all type of your crazy cousin, auntie crazy as hell, half naked. Press 1.
You got the hand guy in there. You know, I know you was talking in class earlier about the hand.
Mortimer, the dead hand? Oh my goodness, you're right. Oh my goodness.
Wow, man.
Oh, brilliant. What a brilliant. I don't think we need another class today. I'm going to stay right here for today. I'm going to stay right here. You're right. The dead hand. Adam's family is under civil death. They have to be resurrected.
Morticia.
I'm fucking dead. Oh my goodness.
Tuesday.
Is Frankenstein a part of that family?
I don't think he's I think he's Lurch or something, but he's like a Frankenstein.
Brought back from the dead type of character. Damn.
Yeah, the man with the electric bolts in his head that's hooked up to the voltage. Frankenstein.
But the way you said it, it was just like the one with just metal bolts in his head. It's connected to the voltage. That's us, bro. You see, we get charged up and then boom, boom, and they make money because they insured. So
walk around like a zombie, just doing whatever they tell you to do. Buy what they tell you to buy. Oh, shop here and buy this.
Wasteful spending, like this. For sure. That's how you get them. Because the
we spend. It's like eventually you buy. If you got a lot of money, you buy shit over and over, and you have a lot of shit. You just got a lot of plastic.
Well, that's the trick. Is to get them to assure cheap things. So cars are now in plastic, but you can charge them a lot of money, and they don't give a shit. They just crash them, and then go get more loans. So they don't give a shit.
They charge you out the fucking nose. You be like, you got an old school car, you got an old slab. You know what I'm saying?
The car was probably $4,000 to make. You paid 40% of it, and then it's insured, and you're going to go get another one and take care of that one better, aren't you? Yes, you are.
And by law, you're going to have to pay for that mug every month.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Even after you pay the car off. After you pay for everything, you still got to pay for it. It's like you have to, like the fees. And that's what it is. Like, you only have fee simple ownership. You're like, okay, because I got to pay a fee for everything. A simple fee. But it's a lot of damn simple fees on everything for me to own shit.
But you're right, because I got to look good in front of these ladies now. They got to see me in debt. The higher the debt, the better.
Yeah, that means the more I spend and the more that they can. And it's also like I'm putting the fucking, hey, look at how much I spend. You get with me, I can spend this and more on you. So it's like, hey, it's like you putting a financial noose out there. You got a $100 bill tied, once I'm tied in a noose, is just dangling them hoes. Like, hey, ladies, hey.
And then when it's all gone, gonna be on the manosphere talking about all the women use me for the money. Get the fuck out of here.
They use me, man. I was a high value. She saw my value, and then all of a sudden she wanted that value for herself for some reason. You think?
Oh my goodness, no shit. That's what you told her. You said, "Look, this is."
You know how many?
They don't get it, man. She
might have been cheating on you. Imagine she cheated on your high value ass with a nigga with no car. Staying with his mama.
Damn.
I've been that guy, and it's like, damn, man, why? Why have all that shit?
Wait,
you cheating on a dude that pay your bills and bought you a car and this, and I don't have shit. I can't do nothing for you. Sitting up there whining on YouTube about. I'm like, you sound childish.
This shit, YouTube is hilarious. But let's get back to this script. Thank you very much for the call.
Yes, sir.
Lord have mercy. We can do that shit all day. You know what you signed up for? You know what you advertising out here. Stop it, G. Hilarious. But that's what the U is all about. Having fun in the midst of some crisis somewhere. But yeah, Roosevelt Island, Island of the Dead. Now, why is Roosevelt Island of the Dead? Can anybody? We're talking about it right now. Ain't y'all glad I got y'all to buy the books? Island of the Dead. Nigga, think about it. Roosevelt, dead, trustbuster, black, jail, 13th, 14th Amendment, 94 crime bill, press 1, minority report, press 1. Come on, wake up. Wake up, support the broadcast, Cash App, my cash tag is Gills Gang, the truth. Shout out to the person who just contributed to this program. Let me read you out. Go to patreon.com/KevGillsTV. Terrence Winborn, shout out to you. Shout out to you, man, for the support, King. For a great show, great build. Of course, my man Terrence out there in the world. It's good to see brothers and sisters all over, just not caught up on the bullshit. We can do that some other time. We do that shit all day. But for our minds to be focused on asylums, Crystalline called me and said the biggest asylum is down there in whatchamacallit. I'm looking like these are castles. Huge. You feel me? Huge. So listen to this, you guys. This is about the asylum.
To penal institutions and the...
I'm so pleased to have as my guest today Stacey Horn, author of Damnation Island, Poor, Sick, Mad, and Criminal in 19th Century New York. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me.
I've got to say I've read a lot of books for this podcast, but yours is one of the most disturbing I've ever read.
Oh, my goodness.
And I say that as a compliment because you're really able to articulate the absolute horrors that happen in this collection of places in your book. Could you describe for my listeners what Blackwell's Island was, the origins of the island, and how an asylum came to be built on it?
Sure. Well, it was early in the 19th century, and Bellevue, which is now mostly known as a public hospital, at the time also had...
Which is now known as the public hospital. So it was just Bellevue. That sounds like a fucking great luxury park, right? Coffee and Kush TV, you on the air. What up?
Yeah, I had to remind you, still a bitch, bro. You're a bitch, all right? So,
thank you, Chappie. Right? Thank you, my man.
Don't ever forget that.
I won't forget it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, Bellevue Island, Bellevue is more like, sounds like a luxury spot, man. It's a spot where we got to let him get that off his chest. It sounds like somewhere where you go. Oh, my goodness.
The city's lunatic asylum, and that's what it was called at the time, to penal institutions and the almshouse for the poor. And as a result, the conditions there were horribly overcrowded and inhumane. The city, searched around for an alternative, and they ended up buying Blackwell's Island, which is like a thin 2-mile long island in the East River between Manhattan and Queens. And
like, that looks like a ship, okay? The whole island looks like a slave ship. Press 1. But when you got dead people, you hear me? When you got dead, civilly dead, it's known as the Island of the Dead. This is where this is that time frame, fam.
And at the time, it was owned by just one family, and it was mostly fruit orchards. So their plan was to build replacement institutions.
Sounds like the World Fairs, little things that they had. Remember, they said nothing but fruits and different orchards was in those locations. I told you. They turned it into what they turned it into.
On this island, they'd build a new lunatic asylum, a new workhouse, which was a prison.
This is how you hide the Holocaust.
Which was also a prison, and a new almshouse. And they researched it, and they did everything they could to build state-of-the-art institutions with new revolutionary treatments. And the idea was that they were sending people away to this sanctuary, and they were going to either reform them or heal them and then send them back to Manhattan in better shape than when they left. But it all went south almost immediately. One by one, as each institution went up, they just kept making the same mistakes over and over, and they turned into these horrible places, which I write about in the book.
And this goes back to the 1830s, correct?
Yeah.
And Charles Dickens even visited early on, right?
Yeah, he visited the lunatic asylum about 3 years after it began, and he wrote that it had
3 years after they took possession, okay? So not began because they'd been there as something else. So they're walking a fine line by not really... I want you to really listen to how they talk about these things and how you perceive them.
That madhouse air, the moping idiot, the gibbering maniac with his hideous laugh and pointed finger, they were all there in naked ugliness and horror.
So there's a long history to this island. It was being used for these purposes from the 1830s all the way up to the turn of the 20th century. Different buildings are added at different points, of course, but I'd love it if you could talk about some of the uses of these buildings on the island. And by the way, the names of these buildings sound quite idyllic. Pavilions, lodges, retreats. Would you explain the different buildings, what each was for, and who was housed where, etc.?
Well, the lunatic, first of all, the focus was, most of the people that went there were poor people. For instance, the lunatic asylum. When members of wealthy families developed mental disorders, they were sent to a private asylum called Bloomingdale, which was much, much nicer. So the only people being committed to the lunatic.
And so the other one was... Let me stop here. So you was taking here, they were taking to Bloomingdale. Go ahead.
Asylum on Blackwell's Island were the people who could not afford Bloomingdale.
Oh, my goodness. Never mind.
And that was true for all the institutions. There was a hospital there, but it was a hospital for poor people. The almshouse was clearly for poor people. These were people that, had no money and no place to live. And the only two places that should have been more democratic were the penal institutions.
Oh, my goodness, y'all. Democratic? Oh, no, they were democratic, Adolf Hitler style. They should have been more republican, sovereign.
It didn't matter whether you're wealthy or poor. If you committed a crime, you should go to jail. But and we can talk about this later. But that
now y'all know the difference between the Fed and the state right here. Just how it all got started.
Was not the case. Basically, the wealthy almost never were sent to prison, and only the poor ended up on Blackwell's Island. So,
oh my goodness.
So the lunatic asylum. Well, let me just first say, what the problem was and why each institution just fell into these terrible places so quickly. And it was because they just made these same mistakes over and over again.
We heard that. Thank you.
They underestimated just how many people, just how large these groups were and how many...
Oh, my goodness. Could you imagine?
People they would have to house there.
Oh.
They underestimated just how expensive it would be. And it was run by 3 commissioners who were part of a department called the Department of Public Charities and Correction.
Huh? Wait a minute. Public Charity and Correction? Uh-oh. Look like we got to go to the Charity and Trust lady again. The Confederate librarian, our favorite white lady. Well, she said our trust was made into a charitable trust. And the 13th and the 14th Amendment genocided them. I do not believe what I just heard. Okay? You may not know what you just heard. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Let me rewind this a little bit to make sure. I heard charitable. You ever heard of prison being voluntary? It's a charity.
These same mistakes over and over again. They underestimated just how many people, just how large these groups were and how many people they would have to house there. They underestimated just how expensive it would be. And it was run by 3 commissioners who were part of a department called the Department of Public Charities and Correction. So 3 people who were politically appointed, so they didn't have experience in these areas, were responsible for both public charitable institutions.
We need those 3 names. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I promise we need those 3.
And penal institutions.
And
it created this terrible association in the public's mind that all these people were basically one and the same.
Criminals. I told you. Let's go.
Poor people suffering from mental illness, and criminals basically were all guilty of something and they all belonged together. And
told you. And what made you a criminal? Not having a job. So you got to know how to perceive this. You got to know what happened to you. I'm just telling you what happened.
Isolating them on this island just reinforced that association and this us versus them attitude from the public. So the lunatic asylum, it was originally built to house 200 people. They thought that would be enough, but they were overcrowded within a year. So they started building additional structures to house the people committed there. And that was what you were referring to. They went by names like the Retreat and the Lodge. But the Retreat and the Lodge was where they housed the most violent patients, and so they became quickly the most notorious buildings associated with the lunatic asylum. And by the way, all these problems were open knowledge. Reporters wrote about it. Right?
So everybody knew. Everybody.
So the public knew about the Retreat and the Lodge. They were infamous. They also threw up these buildings called pavilions. You also referred to them, but they were no more than wooden shanties, and they were very dangerous and very inhumane. And I write about a reporter named Nellie Bly, who wrote about the lunatic asylum later in the 19th century. But she was an investigative reporter who feigned mental illness in order to get committed to the asylum. And the one thing I learned researching her was her original intention was to get committed and get sent to either the Retreat or the Lodge. But she instead was sent to the main building of the asylum, which was the nicest part of the asylum. Like whenever there was a grand jury investigation or senators wanted to investigate asylum abuses, they were always taken to the main building where the patients in the best possible condition were housed. And that's where she was sent. And she wrote her articles for the New York World, which were eventually put together in a book called 10 Days in the Madhouse. And her stories there are so horrifying. And this was in the best part of the asylum. And she says, I had intended to go to the Retreat and the Lodge, but when I saw how bad it was here, I just nixed that plan. She would have been taking her life in her hands if she had been housed in one of these two buildings. And I write about a murder that took place in the Retreat in my book.
So a lot of this book focuses on the women's asylums, and the women and men were separated. And there are various stories throughout your book about women being declared insane while being far from it. Many just simply couldn't speak any English, and often these doctors did not screen incoming patients properly. Could you explain the common processes for diagnosing insanity and the kinds of women who were being put into these facilities?
Well, it was frighteningly easy to get committed to Blackwell's Island. As you said, like sometimes a woman was brought into police court and they couldn't find or didn't want to bother finding an interpreter, and so they'd send her to the lunatic asylum because she didn't speak English. Husbands could have wives sent there. You basically had to get someone from police court to sign
to speak for you. Because you knew nothing of the law, so you couldn't speak.
A certificate of commitment, and that could be bought, or you could have doctors say that the person was insane. Again, their testimony could be bought.
Meaning they will supply you a public defender. And just for your sake, we're going to get you a doctor or two to see if you're even capable of standing trial. You understand me, boy? You know where you are, boy? Do you know what's going on right there, boy? All right, boy. Go on there right there, boy.
What was sadder to me was, as I was researching the book...
This is insane.
I came across... Well, there was a Senate investigation in 1880, and there was this 900-page report that was put together as a result of that investigation. And they interviewed one doctor, and he talked about how when he was first assigned there, he went through all the records of all the women who were in the asylum at the time. And I forget the number, I don't know offhand, but it was like something like 85 women were there with absolutely no records. They don't know who sent them there, when, or why, and they just remained there. And and without explanation. I just thought that was terrible. You could have a lifetime commitment and nobody even knows why.
Look, you could be committed for a lifetime.
One of the more
and don't even know why.
Endearing figures in your book is the Reverend French. I'd love it if you could explain what brought him to the island and what his role was there.
Thank God for Reverend French. It was writing this book was a challenge just because so many records were destroyed, and so I had to piece together what went on in the island and what it was like from the inside, based on this hunt for records. And I luckily came across Reverend William Glennie French. He was an Episcopal missionary to the island, and he was there from 1872 to 1895. And he wrote an annual report every year of his work there. And he structured it based, like he would walk the length of the island going from institution to institution. And so his annual reports were based from the order of the institutions. Like he would write about the lunatic asylum first, because that's the first institution that he came across. And then he'd go from institution to institution in his annual report. So I actually copied him in my book. I did the exact same thing. I structured the book based on each institution in the order that you come upon them. And he wrote about it with such heart and from a point of view that wasn't politically motivated. I also, for instance, read the Department of Public Charities and Corrections. They also had to put together an annual report every year, and each warden or superintendent for each institution had to talk about, what had gone on in their institution that year. And by the way, some of those were also very frank and revealing. But Reverend French just had a different point of view, and he told these stories. He talked about people specifically, and it was very hard to get stories of the people inside these institutions. I mean, I've been researching for a long time various stories, and I find that if you're wealthy, and this isn't a knock against people who are affluent, but there's just much more of you leave behind a greater record. There's letters, there's books, there's articles, there's all sorts of things. But when you're poor, especially in the 19th century, you get a record of your birth and death, hopefully, and that's it. It's very hard to find any kind of written record. So to
you see?
Have someone like Reverend French talk about these people as human beings and to tell their stories was just, thank God I had those. And so he became the hero of my book. I would talk about him and his efforts in each institution. And it was heartbreaking reading some of these, because he was just such a good, compassionate man, and he was always agonizing that he couldn't do more. And in fact, he almost lost his job because he always would carry around in his pockets something to give to the inmates on Blackwell's Island. And he couldn't give a lot, and he couldn't give to many, but he always had either some candy in his pockets, an orange, an apple. He would carry paper and envelopes and stamps so he could write letters for the inmates who wanted to reach out to their families or to try to get a job. And he paid for these out of his pocket, and he went into debt. And when his supervisors found out that he was going into debt, they felt like he was embarrassing them, and they called him on the carpet for this. Like, you shouldn't be doing this. You're embarrassing us. You have to do something about your debts. And he almost lost his job just out of from being kind.
He was called out on the carpet for numerous reasons as well. He revealed.
It reminds me of the Shawshank Redemption. No, it reminds me of the Green Mile. Wow. Okay, let's get back to what they did. Okay, come on.
His supervisors were unhappy with him because he really tried to stop the abuses that he witnessed, but he'd get reprimanded because he was only supposed to be there as a spiritual advisor. But taking care of them physically, it wasn't his responsibility. Is that correct?
Yeah, one of the things in the 1880 investigation, there was I mentioned the Senate investigation into abuses in the lunatic asylum and other asylums, And Reverend French was subpoenaed to appear and testify. And he showed up and he said, I want to testify, but I just got this telegram from my supervisor. And basically his supervisor was telling him that there was a possibility that he would lose his job if he testified. And French said, I want to testify, but I don't know what to do. And the senator said, well, what's his name? And they subpoenaed his supervisor, and so he came in the next day. And I include part of the exchange between the senators and the supervisor because it's just utterly fascinating reading, because they're basically asking him, we are just trying to find out if these people are being harmed, and we're trying to get testimony from people who, don't work there, who are not, testifying out of self-interest. Wouldn't the most Christian thing to do would be for French to stand up for these people and tell us what's going on? And the supervisor is just answering no. His only job there is to provide spiritual counseling. He's not there to witness or report on any possible abuses that are going on. And the senators are going, okay, it's not his job, but nonetheless, if he witnesses something wrong being done, shouldn't he tell someone? Shouldn't he do something about it? And the supervisor kept saying no in all different ways. And he sounds like the most heartless, terrible human being on earth. Like, how could he want to prevent French from testifying? These terrible things are happening. He could help. And then finally, when I started to read between the lines of his testimony, I understood that he was in an impossible position. The people that were on Blackwell's Island who didn't work there, who weren't committed, they were only there because they got a pass from the commissioners who ran the Department of Public Charities and Correction. And they could revoke these passes at any time. So he was afraid that if French testified, they would no longer be allowed to send missionaries there. And he's basically thinking, we can't help if we're not there. So he wanted to help, but he wanted to help in a less public way.
In your book, there are many, many terrible stories of abuse against the women inmates of the asylum. Far too many to mention here. The stories go on, both fascinating and depressing. Could you give us some examples of some of the more egregious abuses against these women by the attendants and the nurses?
Well, part of the problem was to keep costs down. The commissioners decided to use convicts from the workhouse to work as nurses and attendants in the asylum. So that didn't go well. And a lot of the abuses were at their hands, although not entirely. There were, terrible nurses who were nurses. But one of the things when they started the asylum, they were supposed to be following a revolutionary form of treatment called moral treatment. Prior to that, people who suffered from mental disorders were just thrown into prisons, put into straitjackets, and essentially forgotten. There was very little in the form of actual treatment or therapy. And moral treatment wasn't really, it was very simple. The idea was, let's stop putting them in straitjackets and in prisons, and let's treat them with kindness and compassion. Let's put them in institutions that are comfortable and kind and not like prisons. I mean, it seems common sense. Like, if we follow this and if we do this instead, maybe they will respond better. And of course they did. But once they were quickly overcrowded, and the people who were in charge of controlling them started putting them in straitjackets and other forms of restraint. And I just came across one horror story after another, and the one I keep using as an example is at one point they took a pregnant inmate and they put her in a straitjacket and they threw her into solitary, and they had solitary in a lunatic asylum. And they forgot about her, and she gave birth in solitary in a straitjacket, like alone in a straitjacket. She gave.
This is by far the reason why I do what I do. And the reason why I want to start this transition into Cairo University this way, and the why. You know what I mean? Because these stories got to be told. These sites have to be visited. Somebody has to report on this and bring it to the surface and be able to reiterate what's going on, what has happened to us from the past. Cairo University, you on the air? What up? You on the air? Alrighty then, we'll get to it. Coffee and Kush TV, Cairo University. You on the air? What up?
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Bless.
Yeah, man. I was listening and I heard the other young lady. She was mentioning insane asylums in Millersville, and I looked it up, and it's 25,000 unmarked graves.
Really?
Yeah, you want me to send you a link to it?
Yes, sir. 25,000. We just found 25,000 dead bodies in New York.
Exactly.
That's insane. Anything else?
Yeah, that's it, man. I was just reading it and I came across it. Wanted to send it to you.
Thank you. Send it to me, champion. Thank you, brother. My man.
All right, brother.
Blessings.
Birth. And I wasn't able to find out much about her, unfortunately, and I don't think I can't see how the infant could have survived. And there's just endless stories of that. And the one that really upset me when I read about it, and I write about it in the book.
I bet you that's what they did. That was Planned Parenthood back in the day. Press 1. Oh, yeah, you want to do this? Watch this. And that's what happened.
A night nurse who was there alone, except for 3 workhouse convicts who were assisting her, heard a commotion in one of the rooms. Oh, and I should say that all the women, when the sun went down, they were locked in their rooms, and they were not let out until the next morning. So she unlocked the room, and she saw one patient in the process of bashing in the head of another patient with a wooden pail that they use as a chamber pot. And there was a third inmate in there who was trying to get away, but the room was so tiny, the furthest away that she could get was only 10 feet. So she ran for help. A doctor took an hour to get there. And then he bandaged the woman's head and then started to leave. And the nurse said, no, you have to move her to the hospital. She's seriously ill. And she begged him repeatedly to remove this woman to the hospital, and he refused. And she died. And there was a grand jury investigation, and they looked into it, and they issued a report basically finding fault with the commissioners with almost every way in which the lunatic asylum was run. They also found fault with the doctor for not removing the woman to the hospital, even though the nurse had begged him repeatedly to do so. And the response from the head of the man who was running the asylum was to fire the night nurse. That was the only person that got fired. That was the only person that got into any kind of trouble. And he fired her because he said that the woman died because of her gross negligence. I mean, it's just incomprehensible. But he wrote that what she had done was she came upon this woman murdering another woman, and she locked the door. And that was her big fault. And I thought about that. Well, what did he expect her to do? She's one woman. This other woman is enraged and in the process of committing murder. You know, what was she supposed to do? Stop it, by herself? And her real problem was that she had no help whatsoever. And when help finally arrived, this doctor, who was just a young man, straight out of med school, but he was no help at all.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you about that. One of the great dilemmas for these women is that if they were being abused and told an authority, no one would ever take their side because they were insane, of course, in the eyes of that authority.
Right. That I came across again and again. French
to the person out there saying still no mention of race. Oh, there has been mention. You just don't hear it because you don't understand what race is. They said insane, criminals, undesirables. That's racial at this time. This is all 13th and 14th Amendment. You can't hear race because you're a racist. That's why. That's why you don't see or hear race. Only thing you see is beautiful. That's it. Is beautiful. That's why. That's the word. The race is. There's no such thing as black as race. The word at this time is undesirable, criminal. These are all words that got us enslaved. Okay, so they ain't gonna say this one or that one. They're gonna call it for what it is. You having a Planned Parenthood? Guess where you at? You at the hospital. Where the hospital? At the asylum. They're gonna bandage you up. They're gonna take you in there. They'd rather have a baby at home with your mama. Press 1. You go there, they'll tie you up. Put you in a straitjacket. You had a baby right there. Get rid of the baby right there with the Catholic. Press 1. So you don't see racism because you're a racist. And because you can't hear them and you don't know what's going on. Maybe because you ain't... maybe you ain't been here long enough to even understand. Or your comprehension level is really low. And you just come to press 1. That's it. Shout out to my support team. Maybe you're one of those. I don't know. But most of the people here, they come to learn something. So if you're listening, you hear exactly what she's saying.
Said that when he did finally testify at the Senate investigation, and one of the most important points that he wanted to make was that the nurses could be...
So they keep all the baby bodies. Press 1. They keep the baby's bodies. Press 1. They keep the baby's bodies. Remember this. They keep the baby's bodies. I'm going to take y'all to where they had to bury a bunch of dead babies in small caskets right on this island. They had inmates had to move these little babies. But guess what? It let you know this is where Planned Parenthood was taking place. Press 1. I got the movies. You know, I'm just waiting on the people. That's it. I got the movies. My trolls is calling me right now. Listen. You hear that, y'all? They trying to disrupt the show, but they can't. You see? I got them on mute. See? You can't hear them no more. I gotta find a way to defeat the trolls, so that's how I do them.
Tyrannical and cruel, and then when the patients complain, no one ever believed them. It's like, well, they're insane, and they always believe the nurses and the doctors over the patients.
Just like today, they believe the Karens and the white people over the black people today. That's why people be so mad, and the first thing that y'all all say is calm down. But they trying to say you crazy. You liable to do anything when you're furious, black man. So that's why it's important to just know where you are. They do that. They do this shit to this day.
One thing I learned, I'm in the process of reading the book, that the doctors depended on something called an accident book, which was kept by the nurses and the attendants.
Now look at this. What did I tell you all about insurance and accident? Now look at this, an accident book.
They would note any kind of accident or injury that happened to any of the patients during the day, and they would decide who they would look at and treat based on these accident books. Now, since the nurses and the attendants were very often the cause of the accidents and injuries, they would just leave out the ones that they didn't want to get in trouble for. So the doctors never even knew, like, who was in the worst shape.
You mentioned straitjackets. So
she got all type of excuses
for
them.
Restraints, right? Including something called a crib.
Yeah, that one was
What's a crib?
If you see pictures, like if you Google it and see pictures of it, it was terrible. It's essentially the same as a child's crib, but
a crib.
It's actually more confining. Like in even a child's crib, there's a lot of space for them to move around, to sit up. In the cribs that they had for the patients at the asylum, all they could do was lie down flat, and the top of the cage, and it is a cage, was just like a few inches from their face, so they couldn't move at all. And
so what did that remind you of? The internment camps that they said the Japanese people had. Remember? They would lock them in little cages where their bodies was low to the ground. This is I'm trying to tell you the truth.
Describe it. Seeing a patient in one of these cribs, and he said he squirmed around inside of it like an excited squirrel. I mean, it just made me cringe reading that.
Wow.
And one of the doctors testified at the investigation that I mentioned, saying that he didn't think they were so bad, and really they couldn't build them fast enough, and if he could get more quickly, he would do it. And the senators are like, "You've got to be kidding me!" And they said, "Have you ever spent a night in one?" And he said, "No." And they said, "Well, why don't you do that and then get back to us about how bad it was?" But the lunatic asylum, by the way, wasn't the only terrible place.
Oh my goodness! Coffee and Kush TV, Cairo University. This is you on the air. What up?
The word is prejudice.
So what? So listen, I'm gonna end the show here. Cairo University in full effect. Just a brief. There's 24 minutes of excellent. There's a whole hour and a half. You understand? So make sure you signed up to the Patreon. We're going to talk more and do a lot more calls. Sign up to the Patreon if you want to be part of the call list, because, I'm ending all the calls here. And you have to be a part of Cairo University to have a conversation, because it comes right through my Discord. I'll be able to see you, block you. You'll never be over there again. You can't switch your accounts. There's no way. So if you do want to take part, you want to be a part of researching and stuff like that and be part of the show, there's a few brothers I would love to for them to be a part of that process. So I'll connect with y'all on some other shit. But to everybody that's out there, there's more to our history than you were just a slave. You were just an Indian. All of that negates and negates what really is the meat and potatoes here. Genocide, eugenics. The black experience is the Black Holocaust, the American Black Holocaust. That's what this is about. Our Holocaust. That means a warfare against your genetic makeup. And it's provable. It's not like I'm mad or I'm upset and give me reparations. I'm not asking for no reparations yet. I don't know what happened. You see what I'm saying? I'm not out here like, hey, we got to find out and hear and different stories. There's probably tons and tons of different asylums. Georgia, Florida, St. Louis. Press 1. The Missouri, the heartland of America. Press 1. So I'm taking it. All of these asylums there's probably ghost stories. There's probably unmarked graves. And it's probably all of us and the fall of a really great empire in the late 1800s after the subversion of your nation. I'm not saying you was no Indian. I'm not saying you was no African, come over here on no African boat. I'm saying you from right here, and the servers and the maids overthrew. So we're going to continue this conversation at Cairo University. Make sure you sign up there. Make sure you understand, what it's about. Understand the mission. The mission is information. The mission is us. These asylums. Coffee and Kush TV, I appreciate each and every last one of y'all on some real shit. Ain't too many places you can go. And we talk about black towns underwater. We talk about asylums. And ain't that many places on the internet you can interact with black folk about these things. You know, we're going to go over to New Haven, Connecticut, see what's going on. New Haven, Connecticut, you on the air. What up?
What's going on, Professor? This is Gia.
What up, champion?
What's going on, man? I know you get ready to bounce, but I wanted to put it out there that there's three music artists of the 40s and the 30s that were committed to asylums and had forced electroshock treatment. One of them was Bud Powell.
Okay.
A brilliant pianist. Charlie Parker was also committed for a time. Paul Robeson, the lawyer and actor, he had over 50 electroshock treatments based on his political views. And Thelonious Monk was also committed for a certain amount of time. All these men were subject, to asylums and cruelty based on not only their brilliance, but the connection with the community and their abilities to communicate higher ideas. I just putting it out there.
That's crazy because that's kind of like what Kanye's going through.
That's right, exactly. It's nothing new.
Like now that I'm thinking about it with a different spectrum other than, Kanye's tripping and Kanye, whatever. It's like, damn, this can be very symbolic for what that brother's going through on that end of the table. That's deep.
Paul Robeson. Paul Robeson, not only was he was one of the first blacks to graduate from Columbia Law School in New York. He passed the bar, but he actually never practiced due to racism. So he went into acting and all that stuff. And he had, particular political views that the United States didn't agree with. And they deemed him incompetent. They, like I said, they hit him with something like 45 to 50 electroshock treatments that would have destroyed anyone else's mind. They couldn't understand why he kept his faculties. But he talked about all of that. And he had a home here in Connecticut. I forgot where it's at, but home is still in the family,
Yeah.
And he was traveling all the world. He was traveling forth. He went to Russia. He found out who we were, okay? Because before, if you go back to around the 16th century, you won't see the word Russia on world maps. Because the word Rush or Rosh is a Hebrew term meaning beginning. Rosh Hashanah, beginning of the year.
Ah.
And before that, it was known as Shara. See, what they do is they take our language and they flip it. You gotta remember, King James spoke and wrote 5 different languages, including 2 dialects of what they call the Hebrew, which is actually the Iberian language. No such thing as Hebrew. That's all a construct. But, excuse me, if you look into these older maps, if you can find them, Russia was known as Shara, okay? And Shara means the upright ones. As a people, we were known as the upright ones. We were never known as so-called Jews, ever. Okay. Israel the name Israel is also a construct. It's Isis, Ra, and El combined. We were never known by those names. Over the last 300 years, they have rewritten all the records. And the power is in the language. Because we even created this language. So this was a financial transaction language, the language we're speaking now, but what we're speaking
You mean
today,
like commercial language?
Commercial language, absolutely. But what we're speaking today is very different than what the original King James was written in.
So we're locked into commercial language.
That's right, absolutely. It's all about commerce.
So this is how we stay, even in our language, we stay condemning ourselves, kind of like cursing ourselves, but kind of like, damn, it's tough to even put into words.
Well, here's what's happening. Here's what I've been working on for the last 3 years, really intensely, is the language. Okay, we see part of the scripture talks about the lifting of the veil. That lifting of the veil is actually language. Okay, that's what it is. It is truly language, because they took our records. Okay, they turned the biblical record into some sort of religion. You know, we didn't have that. We had 613 laws, which were divided into 4 categories: moral law, civil law, dietary law, and law of ceremony. That's what we have. We were never given religion. Right? And when we encounter these people, we term them the lawless ones. Right? If you go into, the Apocrypha, which is the book they took out of the King James, the 14 books.
I got 54 books. 14?
Well, no. Well, the 14 they took out, because the biblical record they give you now only has 66. But if you add the 14, they give you, I believe it's 84 books, right? Which would make, including the Apocrypha, which was the book that's in between the Old and New Testament. Because you have the Wisdom of Solomon is in there. You have Second Ezra, which is in there. You have Ecclesiasticus, which is in there, which is in the Apocrypha. All these books they took out, and they said, "Oh, well, you really should read those books." But those books are mentioned in the books of Joshua and the Book of Kings. Books of Kings. It talks about these books, like the Book of Jubilees. That is mentioned.
We cover a lot of that, but I don't want to get into these different conversations, jumping around, because it's all there. But I want to stay around the. It's not a lot. It's just I want to keep this topic around the American and the Black Holocaust, not what our language was and all these other things that people will go down. I want to keep it right on this Holocaust and how important it is that we realize what happened, how many people were actually committed to these asylums that could have been crematoriums. For all I know, a lot of our people at this time was put on trains, never to be seen again.
Well, that happened in Katrina. There are people that were put on buses, and they're still unaccounted for.
No, well, I don't know if they're accounted for in this manner. I know a lot of people was just sent all over the place, but a lot of them was adults. And when you're dealing with the asylums at this time with the firstborn, so many were sent here, specifically murdered, never to come out, maybe sent to crematoriums. How many people? They said over 1 million bodies are on this island. That's a lot of people. And if it's 1 million there, who's to say it's not 1 million over there, and 500,000 over there, and 800,000 over there, and 50,000 and 30,000 here? That's what I want to focus on. How important it is this Black Holocaust is to our people, and getting this hypothesis out there that this travesty in American history must be told.
It's very real, man. It's real, because the island was called the Island of Messing and Madness. That was another nickname for it.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm focused on the island being called the Island of the Dead, and knowing why we are died there. These are all attributions of the 13th and 14th Amendments.
That's absolutely right. So, according to, because you got to understand, the scripture says that these people, these foreigners, would become a law unto themselves. Right? They would practice whatever they felt like practicing once they overthrew us. Now, we're trying to find out how we're all looking at how did this happen?
Who?
What happened that we got into this position and we were overthrown?
Wait, what you mean we looking? I'm explaining it to the people. I know how it happened.
Okay, all right.
So are you trying to tell us how it happened? Is that what you said?
No, I'm saying a lot of folks, we how do we get to a position of vulnerability in order to be overthrown by these foreigners?
We talking about that through we working our way right down that alley in time. It's all coming together. How it happened, Here is how it happened: floods, fires, emergencies, and a whole National Guard off in war. Thank you for the call, champion. My man, see, Tyreek, you ain't finna get at me. Press 1. Tyreek, please go somewhere with that madness. Sir, press 1. Go somewhere with that madness. You over there tripping. That's what happened. You trying to lure me away into all this other mumbo jumbo. That's why I focused in right there, Tyreek. That's why. Y'all can't. When y'all call me, make sure y'all phones is regular, bro. Cause I'm that bright. This ain't a smart contest. Press 1. This ain't a who can be smartest. This is outright destruction. Coffin Kush TV. This isn't who can be smart and who can derail Kev off his mark. No, brother. Press 1. This is it. This is what it takes. Coffin Kush TV. And as always, family, I'll holler.